Viles can actually hit.
Here's the money,
Does hit the liver, man. There's a lot of Viles and only got rid of one liver. I thought the tank was dead as well. I love that Spirit just takes this base too, right? Just why not? I mean, his opponent's taking this base next to his base. It's here. Kind of Rex is still focusing as words, man. That's it.
Or sometimes. But anyway, this is a really simple little one-use super micro server. It has an E3 1220 V3, I think, and I upgraded it to 16 gigs of, just got the 10 gig port, and my wife's computer got the 2.5 gig port. And well, those computers are going to be on the same VLANs. I don't really need a managed switch. But for example, the studio where I'm probably going to be doing testing and modeling different VLANs for things, I have this MicroTik CRS310-EV plus 2 X plus 9. Once again, it has 2 plus ports as well as 8 2.5 But this is back in
it's scary as this might happen on the Terran side of the mouse. If the Zerg wins convincingly, you may end up in a position where you don't have a lot
studio, and then if I ever need another managed 10 gig switch, I'll probably pick up another one. Alright, so at this point, I've run all of the cable through the conduits and have keystone jacks hooked up. In the closet, I even wired all of the cabling through a nice little grommet to make things look a little bit nicer, and I cleaned out all of my old phone lab stuff to make room for a rack, which I decided on this 15U open rack from Riveco, which seemed like it was pretty good quality and also has the feature of being able to adjust the length. That way I can start small but expand if I need to. Other than the fact that it tried to kill me, getting it set up was pretty easy. Unfortunately, my measurements weren't accurate, as it barely fit through the closet door into here. And so now I have an empty rack, as well as this little keystone patch panel I picked up from Cable Matters. So the question now is, well, what do I put in this rack? And I had a few thoughts here. First of all, I could have gone with Unified, as that seems to be a really good option if you're looking for something that sort of just all works together, and well, there's a reason that most of the online YouTube guys go with Unified stuff. Then I was thinking maybe I should go with something a little bit different, like maybe an Omada setup or something. But when it came down to it, I kind of remembered that this channel has always been about repurposing old hardware or just using the hardware you have. And, well, I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of nice hardware, even if it is kind of a mixed bag of different brands and ecosystems, but I have enough hardware to do the things I need to do, so for the most part, I'm going to be repurposing stuff I already have. I'm going to be using my QNAP 10 gig switch, I'm going to be using a TP-Link 2.5 gig switch that I kind of silently picked up a few months ago and didn't really cover it on the channel. What I'm not going to be using is my ultimate router build that I did quite a few years ago. It's actually been working great. I've had no issues with the fact that it's virtualized in Proxmox, and pfSense has been solid, but I'd like to find something that fits a little bit better in the rack, and I'll get to that here in a second. Now, for the time being, I am going to be repurposing my little mini PC Proxmox server just because it has a lot of important stuff running on it, although that I'll probably also migrate over to something that can kind of fit in the rack a bit better. And I'm also going to be using my primary TrueNAS server in here, but well, I don't have a rack mount case yet. I'll get to that, so for now it's probably just going to sit down here at the bottom. I also have a rack mount UPS on the way, but well, a lot of stuff taking a long time to get here because it's a new house and mailing address, and anyway, I will have a rack mount UPS coming, but for now I'm just going to use a little tower one that I already have, kind of sitting down here, probably next to the TrueNAS server. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to try to get this rack all built, and I'll see you on the other side.
Machine T2 turbo suppressor, rated for 556. Got a ModLight PLH C2 weapon light, BCM MCMR rail. Peg on here that.
All right, it's all put together, and
BCM,
well, yeah, it's not the sexiest looking thing. It's not a typical awesome-looking YouTuber rack by any stretch of the imagination, but so far it works, and it works pretty well, and it gets everything done that I need it to get done. Really, I don't want this rack to be a big feature of the channel. It's probably going to come up plenty of times, and I may even at some point check out some rack gear, and it'd be nice to have a few extra rack spaces to try something out. But really, this is just supposed to be kind of my core infrastructure to make everything work so I can do my normal job of making videos about computers and doing other kind of like home lab, home server setups and like little 10-inch racks and stuff that I kind of find to be a bit more interesting. But for just getting things done day to day and making stuff work in my house and having the networking backbone to actually be able to do everything I need to do, this seems to be working pretty well. Clearly it's not done. Like, I don't want to have a desktop NAS sitting back here and a UPS sitting down here. I will get that stuff wrapped up in a future video. And I also need to do a lot of cable management. Please, dear God, don't look at the back of this thing. It is pretty rough. But I didn't want to spend a ton of time really trying to cable manage until A, I have all of the gear in the rack, B, until I can get some more gear to help with cable management, and C, until I have some time to like really use this and make sure I don't want to change anything. Oh yeah, I never talked about what I'm using as my firewall. And you might have seen it, it's this little super micro system down here. And I actually picked this up for like $5 or $10, I think, back when I took a trip to that e-waste, like IT reselling and recycling place that I've been to a few times. They just had this in a pile of stuff, and I think I asked for it for like, if I remember, it was like $5 or $10. Maybe if I can find it, I'll put it here or something. But anyway, this is a really simple little 1U super micro server. It has an E3 1220 V3, I think, and I upgraded it to 16 gigs of DDR3 unbuffered ECC memory. I also added 2 SATA SSDs, as well as a dual 10 gig SMP Plus NIC. As with my previous router setup, I installed Proxmox, but instead of running pfSense, I decided to switch over to OpenSense. I've just been using that more in various videos recently, and I kind of like it, so I decided to switch over to that and give that a shot. So currently, it's just Proxmox with an OpenSense VM, and then I pass through both of the 10 gig NICs and one of the gigabit NICs to the OpenSense VM, and so I'm using the 1 gig NIC for my WAN port since I have a 1 gig internet connection, and then I'm using one of the 10 gig SMP Plus ports to connect to my switches. That way I have some 10 gig inter VLAN routing, which should be nice. And like my previous router setup, I'm probably going to install a few other services onto Proxmox, like some VPNs, a reverse proxy, and probably an instance of the WANA controller. Because not only do I have this TP-Link 2.5 gig switch, I also have, well, I previously had 2 TP-Link Wi-Fi 5 access points, but I decided to upgrade to, I forgot what the model is, I'll put that on here, but it's one of their Wi-Fi 7 access points. And, well, you might have noticed I only ran 1 access point, and that's because there was a pretty good spot pretty much right in the middle of the house. And so I decided to run it there to see how well it worked. And so far it seems to be working pretty well, like back here in the studio space, in my kids' room, in our study, in the living room. But my wife and I's bedroom I'm a little bit concerned about, so I'll kind of have to like test it a bit more. But worst case scenario, I just install a second access point all the way over at the far end of the house that would basically just be for like our bedroom and such. Now as far as OpenSense goes, the configuration so far is pretty simple. I just have that one physical interface that's connected to my 10 gig switch, and then with that I have a variety of VLANs. Some of those I already kind of had set up in my previous house, and then some of them are ones that I wish I had set up, and so now's a good time to do so. Now first we have my main trusted VLAN, which is going to probably be things like my computer, my wife's computer, laptops, those sort of things. And then I also have a second VLAN, which is called Lab, and that's going to eventually be for most of my home lab stuff, services that I access locally, but just for some organizational purposes, and also to be able to control some amount of traffic, I might put those on a separate VLAN. Then I have an IoT VLAN for pretty much anything that isn't trusted, so IoT devices, sensors, smart TVs, etc. I also have a cameras VLAN, which is basically just going to be for security cameras. And then I also have a testing network, which essentially is basically the same thing as like a guest network. It just has access to the internet and nothing else, and that way I can use that for testing different devices that I don't really want to give access to my main trusted node. And then lastly, I have a management VLAN, and this is for all of the admin panels for my switches and access points, as well as IPMI ports for a few of my servers. Now, I'm not going to do a deep dive into all of the configuration, but to give a general gist of how I have some of my firewall rules set up. First of all, for the IoT and testing VLANs, these are pretty much just set up as kind of how you would set up guest networks. They can access the router for DNS, and then basically they can't access anything else except the internet. And I know some people like to set up VLANs for IoT devices that they don't want to access the internet, but if that becomes the case, I can always just add individual devices or groups of devices to a specific rule that blocks them, or I could just add them to the cameras VLAN, because there pretty much everything is blocked except for whatever port NTP is on. That way cameras can update their time properly. Now, right now, my main VLAN and my lab VLAN, those are just wide open. They can access anything. But then on my management VLAN, I have it set up to where basically no external devices can access that, except for one individual address, which is from my main desktop PC. And then on my 2 switches, as well as my access point, I got all of those VLANs configured as well. And yeah, so far it's all working. Nothing about it is crazy. It's not like a super cool setup, but it's a pretty solid foundation, I feel like, to let me get started with a lot of other cool projects I have coming up. Like, for example, my next video is probably going to be setting up Home Assistant and all of my devices, which I have a lot of cool things, I think, in this house that I have a Home Assistant that works. So hopefully those will be interesting videos. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If so, give me a like. You know all the things. If you didn't like it, once again, I'm sorry. There'll be normal Hardware Haven content here in a little while once I get this space set up a bit better. That's about it for this one, though. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay curious, and I really can't wait to see you in the next one.
You got the H3 there, right?
No, H2 with the sprinkle red spray. No, the red.
The red. Oh.
Yeah.
The red is stronger than the red.
Yeah.
Cycling?
Yeah. Because remember the problem I had, like, when I would shoot it, it would get like gummed up, and I'd hit that bad lever and wouldn't go home.
Yeah.
So I actually tagged spring cone. They said you should go red. So all right. They're like, yeah, you're in red territory, getting close to orange. Like, goddamn.
I think orange is like the strongest one, right?
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. It's running red. Red's stout. Hey, that's cycling pretty good.
Yeah,
It's better.
Like you're getting into battery or no.
You're a little bit of a different animal.
Blue, regular spring is like, please go into battery. White hot is like, can you go into battery, please? Blue was, oh, you thought I was playing. Red is, or else.
No, the red is.
Red's like, I'm
The
new,
champ-
bro.
The champ is
I'm
like,
new, bro. I'm new.
I'm not fucking asking.
you are going into battery. Let's see how this is. Stand by.
All 8 zones. All 8 zones.
Nigga, you're fucking. You're 3 inches away from the fucking target, nigga.
I already put porn pictures.
4 out of 10. Middle toe's longer than the rest.
Nice feet. I just don't like that. I just,
Nice curved angle.
I just wouldn't wear that color. I'm just saying.
Alright. As soon as I set a course fire, we're going to 5 low ready to 5 high ready. I'm just going to rip through them. Let me know if you need to slow down or stop. Stand by.
What's up with these niggas doing these fucking shooting drills? And they're like 2 feet away, bro. Like, you niggas are all gonna fucking die. I didn't fucking die. Let me tell you from war experience. You're gonna be shooting at people. If you're fucking that close shooting at somebody, you're gonna die.
Too. With the 9-time GSL
Most
champion,
times
the
you're
ranked
shooting.
Town in the world in the red. It's the man,
I don't know.
the Maru. Facing
Half a
off against the
block
ranked
away.
1 Terran in the world.
If you're
The
even
Protoss in
if
the blue.
you can
We
even
have
see
Team
what you're shooting
Liquid's
at, bro.
Clem in a best of 5 Terran versus Protoss showdown. Part of the
Now, if
League
you're
Cup
inside a
yearly
trench
finals for $10,000.
and you're fucking working a
And before we
trench,
get
you're
started,
CQB in
incredible,
a close
you can
quarters.
smash that like button or maybe even subscribe.
You're not gonna be shooting a nigga that fucking like that anyway, because he's gonna be shooting back at you. You're most likely gonna be fucking
1,798 likes on this video.
throwing a grenade at that person.
I'll cast another one. I'll probably do it anyways because
You know what I mean? And if you are shooting somebody that close, you're fucking shooting the mother on the ground already dead.
Hopefully it's about to get just a little
Because
bit
motherfuckers like the
better.
overkill.
As Clem faces
them
his
jumps.
greatest test, the best Terran in the world, who isn't named Clem. And since we currently don't have the technology to force Clem to play against himself, Maru is the greatest mountain to climb. And lately, Maru has been looking better than he ever has since the last decade. Going toe-to-toe with Hero, consistently, well, earning his place as that next best Terran, and threatening to overtake. And Clem, as StarCraft 2's very first biracial player, the player who on a regular basis picks another race in order to hedge their bets in a certain matchup. Now, nobody in StarCraft 2, nobody sane in StarCraft 2 enjoys mirror matchups. And especially Terran versus Terran is well known to be a bit technical and somewhat coin flippy, just like all mirror matchups. So Clem decided to solve that problem by creating problems. After surviving the crucible of playing against Max Packs literally hundreds of times in series, let alone games, he's become arguably the best Protoss player in the world in Protoss versus Terran. Again, because he doesn't have to play against Clem, but that's, you know, a pretty big advantage. The first adept going to be hunted down by the Reaper Hellion, and we are on a 3-player map, and there's more shenanigans afoot, but the Stalkers are able to trot their way back to the shield battery and hold for now, and to the game in hand. And there's quite a hand to play. Maru, with a bit of cheese. A starport with cloaked banshees being researched in a corner of the map that is almost certainly never going to be scouted. Even if there was a hallucination, there isn't, but there could be. There's no way he's going to see it come. Unfortunately for Maru, at least on paper, it's just a robo-blank build. This is the most cookie-cutter standard. This isn't Heroes 4's Gumpian school of Protoss delights, but instead, it is about the most staple build that Terrans could ever be dealing with. And the Blink Stalkers are almost completed, undercutting the Reaper Hellion as they kind of pass by 2 different angles. A single siege tank, Clem pulls back, anticipating something more for defense. You may have seen the tank coming down the ramp as well. There's already an Immortal on the way, but an Immortal is not known for being very good against Banshees. Did he even make an Observer? You know, Maru may have bamboozled Clem a bit here. There's a whole lot of Stalkers. He waits for 2 Banshees in order to be able to punch through their shield batteries and do so much damage that they can't reshield the probes in time. There's an Observer on the way, but the Stalkers are halfway across the map, led by the nose, assuming they have one, who knows with those bandanas, by the Reapers. And now the Banshees come in. The Observer's nearly complete, but 4, 5, and 6 probes dead immediately. A single Observer comes out. He's going to try to chase down. A bit of waffling here, but he forces the Blink Stalkers to the back, but there is a shield battery in the main. Nobody is more cognizant of the dangers that Terran can pose than the most dangerous Terran out there. So it seems Clem did anticipate some sort of shenanigans like this, whether it's a Hellion drop or the Reapers in the main. He's going to try to cut off the Banshee, but the Banshee would rather just hang out in the corner all on its own. Typical Terran. Another Banshee coming in, and the shield battery not quite in position to deal with this. And that will cost a couple more probes their lives. Maru now almost equal on workers, though just now starting his 3rd command center while Clem has his 3rd nexus completed. Banshee sliding along the force field wall, where the flames are mostly cosmetic there as we slowly fall from orbit into the planet. But there's plenty of time to play this out. The starport is spotted. Clem correctly anticipating the proxy. Maru knocks down an Observer. The Banshees, there's a lot of airspace for the Banshees to work with. Only one of them with energy to cloak, and the Stalkers are very aware of the Banshee's presence. Another Banshee just continually working their way around, and Maru seems to have given up at least somewhat on the all-in idea, and is now swerving into a much more macro-oriented sort of style. As he has double engineering bay, 3rd command center, more barracks on the way. There's maybe a chance that he moved out and tried to do some big all-in with pulling the boys and the siege tanks, which he is no stranger to. Alright, we've seen plenty of those against, again, his Korean counterpart Hero, but Clem seems to have more than enough units. He has 16 Stalkers and an Immortal, so good luck getting out of your base, especially without the stim pack. So Clem holds the Banshees, he deflects the pressure, and he's going to keep Maru pretty bottled up. But if there's one thing Maru's good at, I guess it would be turtling. I had to cheat. I realized that there's a lot of things he's good at, but if there's one of the things is turtling. A absolute grandmaster class in how to sit in your base and make it impossible to be killed. But if anyone knows how to pick it apart, again, Clem is on a single list. A list of one person. Just a name. Alright, just pretend that joke worked. And speaking of working, so far the Reapers, they're still getting more damage. Bounces them to the side, gets 4 kills with the Reapers. And Maru edged 55 SCVs against 57 probes. It's certainly not a terrible spot economically, especially considering the fuels actually give him the income advantage. An armory on the way. Maru not going to be stopping at 1-1 upgrades like sometimes is the case. The starport, there and back again. Finally making its way back to the home and never knew. And will land on a reactor prepared especially for it. Yep, that's an observer. Clem gets caught out. The stalker count, so damn high. Clem has not been slouching on the production. He's made sure to get his gateways up in a very, very timely fashion. There's still 3 Banshees. Well, for a moment. Until Blake's down, he takes out another one.
Figure out what the fuck is on this PC.
Coming around the corner. Very annoying to deal with. A Colossus is out. Extended thermal lance is about halfway done. Mine's further along. And the siege tanks, well, Maru's battening down the hatches. It's pretty clear where we're going. And for Maru, that means not very far at all. Siege tanks, supply depots, scanning every observer. Even though Clem, I'm sure, knows what he's doing. You've got to leave that little bit, that kernel of doubt, which could maybe explode into the popcorn of danger. 2-2 for Clem. No, sorry, Maru. Getting Clem conflated with the Terran, which is both understandable and unacceptable. 4 more gates, a second robotics facility. So much of the time, Terran versus Protoss kind of ends up like a chess boxing match. Or what I assume, based on the name of a chess boxing match. I haven't actually watched one, though. It feels like it's something that sounds entertaining, but isn't nearly as much. Moving on. Kind of like TVP sometimes. But now we go back to the board and build up. And it's Clem's job to figure out if he could ever break Maru. Not necessarily how, but if. The most likely time to do so is focused around the expansions. Eventually, Maru will mine out. Yeah, sure, he might have more CCs than a poorly formatted corporate email chain. He might have more turrets than a tower defense game. But at some point soon, the minerals in the main will mine out, the natural not too far behind. And this map, well, they ship it with your mother, so it's the most massive map in the pool. It's a 3-player map, which means just more bases to work with. And potentially Clem could have... We saw Hero versus Maru on this map. Hero had 10 bases, and he still managed to throw the game. Which, you know, can't help but compare in Clem Trast. Was that... Did he get an observer? He got an observer, right? Yes. He EMP'd some of his own medevacs, but the EMP also reveals the observer. And this is it. The 4th base is on the way. Clem is maxed out. Maru not quite there yet, and no 2-2 upgrades. Here comes Clem. Extended thermal lances. Fires off a salvo. Double kill on the siege tanks. Disruptors mixed in. He's got a whole tsunami of splash damage. Though notably absent Archons or Templar. As against the Ghosts, they're less than reliable. But Clem is rotating around again. He's got 12 gateways back at home. He's building up another round of production. Another robo. More gates. 2 more Nexi. 3-2 upgrades on the way. A bit of an archaeological expedition as he takes down the rocks. A fusion core is in production from Maru as he tries to hold things down. The fusion core very likely for the advanced ballistics, but blinks forward. Down goes one Liberator. Gets a second. Fires off the fadeaway shots. Another set of tanks. Vikings helping against the Colossi. The Disruptor will zone out the bio. The surviving Banshee will actually take out a pylon, but a big warp into the main. The warp prism goes down, but the Zealots are already here, working on the starports themselves. Siege tanks and Liberators holding the front line. Meanwhile, the fusion core could be delayed, no, not quite. Clem still working around the edges, but the end result, Maru does have a 4th base. He is mining from it. Slow and steady sometimes wins the race. The Banshee gets involved. There is no, well, I think there's a big hit caught between a rock and a hard place there. As Maru's struggling to navigate his own base somewhat. And Clem has 2,200 minerals in the bank. He's mining 3,500 minerals per minute. That's a whole legion, a cinematic of zealots to throw away. And here comes Clem right down the center, fires off another volley. Comes up a little short, but gets one of the ghosts. Meanwhile, another one to the side. Unfortunately, the Stalker blinks a little bit too close to the mini-sun. Dark Shrine is on the way. Triple Ruptor production around the top and around the corner. Vikings in a good position to snipe off some Colossi, but the trickle of Disruptors will keep Maru at bay. Clem managing the Blink Stalkers, the Charge Lots, the Ruptors, and keeping those Colossi in position. The Mass Ruptor is what he's chosen, which is a fragile, the glass cannon unit composition. But so far, the shots are mostly landing. Maru is maxed out, without much in the bank, though he does have 7 orbital commands, and keeping tabs on this army is absolutely critical. And coming around the corner, make that 6 orbital commands. Misses a couple Ruptor shots. 0 for 2. Shack at the free throw line, but keeping the army. The Disruptor is the most dangerous force field, because force fields themselves are less than ideal. Even though they don't land their shots, getting Maru out of position or keeping him out of position is absolutely key. But now the Venn diagram of freedom, the liberation is at hand. Another set of Ruptor shots. Last Colossus is knocked down. Some Marauders taken with it. Disruptor pop, but Maru's expanding down the center. He's taking his entire quadrant, which, if Clem's not able to smash it, might be enough resources to get the death ball he truly needs. A few more shots slamming in. Another volley. Gets another hit. But wait, there's more! And that one comes up short, but Clem keeping the pressure on, unleashing volley after volley of Disruptor fires. He's got 5 of them underneath. Really working those cooldowns as well. Fires another shot. Clips a siege tank. Shield upgrades finishing 3-3 and +1 shields for Clem. Working on DT Blink. He's got 8 in XI now. Another Stalker-based army. There's only 1 siege tank over here, which blinks forward. Has a single Disruptor to catch Maru on the transition. Gets a few of the Marines. Another shot up to the high ground. Has to dodge it with his own Zealots. A Warp Prism is flying in towards the Natural simultaneously. Liberator sieging up the rocks. A little bit out of position. Another salvo. Warp Prism is free to warp in. Clem losing a lot of supply here. Neither player noticing that Prism, but it could be absolutely critical. Pulls away. Warp Prism. No, Clem! No! Oh, the Select All Army. The hero school of uh-oh. Yep, that seems like it works, to be honest. That was a premium opportunity to warp in, but Clem losing track of the many prongs of this attack. And Maru, the end result, he has a 5th base. Clem does not want that to happen, but can he stop it? Disruptor shots under the medevacs take a big chunk of Maru's army, but the Liberators will zone out the rest. 8 DTs warping in, angling towards the planetary fortress at the 3 o'clock. Clem will continue until morale improves, or he dies trying. The DTs, Blink is completed, gets on the siege tank, a little bit of back and forth here, the bio pulling back. Clem realizes he's been spotted. That is so many Liberators. There's an observer spotting for all this, but that doesn't mean he can deal with it. The bio's chasing down the DTs. Finds the Liberator slightly out of position, will knock down 1 or 2, continues forward, Disruptors to push him back. But the Liberator's still taking big chunks. +2 ship weapons is done. 15 more Zealots warped in. The pylon! He cuts down the Zealot count, but enough Zealots will cut him down in turn. Rebuilds the pylon. Clem has expanded to over half of the map. Maru's locked down 5 bases, though, and that's the real objective, but Clem finally found an angle. Trying to blast through. Another couple shots, but the planetary holds. What a save! Holds the line for now, and Maru is tearing through everything left. The Disruptors are on cooldown. The Colossi have to retreat back, but the Thermal Lances have enough range. He's got 3 rows of production. 2 more next on the way. We'll put him at 10. Maru has held. The Turtle Terran. The Shell has hardened. He has high-sec auto-tracking and building armor for both turret and planetary range, as well as armor. Moving over to the right side. a few charge lots, a couple prisms, borrowing hero style, and into the main base. At least one prism will survive, though I'm not sure it'll actually get a chance to warp in, but doesn't matter. A few zealots near the third. The prism trying to take the opportunity. Maru pulls back a disproportionate chunk of his army, but he's still at 200 supply, which is part of the reason he's struggling, as the reinforcements are not coming out of the barracks because he's simply not losing that many units. Clem has lost 8,000 more resources, but about an equal amount of gas. 101 zealots so far. Just the beginning. But Clem continues working his way around. Another scan, trying to anticipate some of the warp-ins, but the Liberator count is at 6. The Marauder count at 33, which is obscenely high. Disruptors pop, but a couple more get their shots and take a critical mass of the Marauders. 4 Colossi, only 2 Vikings. Another Disruptor in the center mass. Shaves away 1 Liberator. Make that 2. Forced to pull back for more. But there are currently 4 Colossi against 3 Vikings. Those scales are a bit tilted here, though Maru doesn't seem to be easily. It feels like Clem's starting to really build some momentum, knocking down the Starport units. The EMPs not so dangerous against the Zealots, which have significantly less shields. More Stalkers being warped in for the base down the center. The Planetary Fortress will be targeted, and there's not nearly enough SCVs. The Planetary is taken down, and Maru is starting to crumble. He's losing units that he can't easily replace. Couple more Liberators targeted down the Vikings as well. The Marines and Marauders are in autumn colors. And there might be Caduceus Reactor for the 4 medevacs, but he can only heal so many units at a time. Clem knows how dangerous this position is for the Terran. Will knock down another Liberator, picking them off one by one because the Marauders can't zone out this many Stalkers. The Colossi. He's so tempted to step a little bit further, but he knows how dangerous it could be against the concentrated firepower of these Liberators. Maru, a single volley, almost takes down his own command center. A bit of a panic here. 89 probes for Clem, which means Maru's army supply is still larger. But he can't get out of his base. Clem is tightening the noose right now. It's getting closer and closer to breaking. The DTs on the Planetary pulls the SCVs, but I think it's too little, and it's certainly too late. Eviscerates an entire Planetary Fortress. Meanwhile, Clem down the center dives it again, and Maru is too late to respond. The Liberators aren't sieged up. The Vikings aren't in position. Another command center could be taken down. Shaves away a few more units. He's on the chase, but he's retreating into the fire and fury of the Colossi. The Vikings might be able to knock him down, but the DTs found another angle. And Maru, anticipating, but not quite quickly enough. The DTs still have Blink. He comes back in again. Another orbital. Right now, Clem is tearing him apart, despite his Protoss need a Nexus! He has a Nexus on every single other base. But Maru still has 110 Terran army supply. Though I don't know if he'll ever get an opportunity to move out again. The EMP detects the vast majority of the DTs, which looks so weird when they get detected like that. Not to editorialize, but meanwhile, Clem refills yet again. He's lost 10,000 more resources. But with 10 Nexi and 90 probes, he just needs to survive the onslaught. Maru has almost no home to go back to. He has this. The death ball is put together. It's not going to get any more dangerous, but Clem has a few death balls of his own. Fires off a Ruptor. Clips a couple Marauders. Even chews through a couple Ghosts. The Liberator's trying to move forward, but the Disruptor shots fired off before the Liberators can siege. Gets a few more. Maru bleeding out on the field. But he's still got enough life in him. He's still dangerous. Meanwhile, the charge lots will take out what little economy is left. Trying to target down the Liberator's doing a pretty good job of it. Vikings hit the deck in the center field. Will knock out a surprising amount of the Stalkers. But Clem, in the most precise yet overwhelming display of macro Protoss versus Terran. Who's the Zerg now? $99 Marines, 178 charge lots. He used the entire map as an economic sledgehammer to smash Maru to pieces. And it wasn't easy. and it wasn't quick. But Clem avoided the pitfall of so many Protoss before him, including himself, which is going just a little bit too deep and digging too greedy. If you lose one fight too hard, the Terran momentum can flip immediately. It can be almost impossible, if not impossible, to regain. But Clem never overstepped. Which is, again, I gotta stress, the hardest part is knowing before you've done it. Because it always feels like you could maybe just get that base. He never dove on a single planetary, on a single orbital, because a command center is 400 minerals. Okay, an orbital is 550, planetary 550, 150. But if you lose 2,000 minerals and 1,000 gas to army for it, that trade doesn't add up. So, Clem defeats the #1 non-Clem Terran in a straight-up macro game, and that is the style that Maru is better. I would say he's better than Clem at the Turtle Terran. The Porcupine Terran, let's call it. I don't know if that's more generous or not, but the Porcupine Terran where if you attack me, you're going to get the quills or spines. Or, I want to say quills. I'm pretty sure I've debated this before, mostly in my head. That's where most of the debates happen. They're very heated. Like and subscribe for my mental health care. But Porcupine Terran. Very prickly, but it does not move fast. Turtling just implies you're sitting there and, I don't know, just retreating into your shell, but it's definitely a lot more dangerous than that. What again? It started as a phase, but now it's plenty of phase shifts for Clem with the Protoss. Legitimately, his Terran versus Terran was his most unreliable matchup. As especially many micro-oriented players, sometimes there's sometimes no amount of micro that can solve a mirror matchup, because it doesn't make up for having one less of a key unit, like a Cyclone or a Raven. And Clem's Protoss is actually currently ranked higher than his Terran on the European map, at least last I checked. So, which was admittedly quite a while ago, but don't worry, I'm on the internet, I said it with authority. So, it is now for a while, I was going to keep talking and doing filler commentary, but fortunately, this Zealot came up and relieved me of that obligation. As the Zealot, he's pulling more SCVs, anticipating more danger. As Maru did not scout, this could be a proxy gate. It's not, but it could be. Unfortunately for Clem, though, the bunker will finish, and that will severely reduce any options. And I think the timing of the Adept will actually let Maru know that this is the extent of the danger. He's got a third command center on location. Alright, now I can pontificate a little more. If I could remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, Clem playing Protoss. Now we thought that there might be a chance of players saying, well, if you're going to play Protoss, I'm going to play... Well, I guess the other option is Zerg, but seemingly nobody wants to off-race a Zerg, which is weird, right? They can't hack it. A friend of... No. I'm just telling the truth. Just being brutally honest. No one asked. They never asked. So. The early pressure. One SCV, 2 Marines. The Adepts trying to keep something going, but... Now, does Clem... He may anticipate the tactics. But, what can you do about it? I believe Blink Stalkers can easily get over the worker path, the mineral wall only there. Maru's just doing a triple Rex, a tri-Rex. Sounds like a video game dinosaur, but bunch of Marines, Marauders, a bunch of dudes with drugs, guns, and hatred of the races who don't look like them. So, feels right at home, but... Oh, surprise! Well, that Adept was expiring in 30 seconds anyways. We all know adepts after 5 minutes are a liability. Truly the most early game focused of units. Even more so than Reapers, I feel. Here come the Blink Stalkers. Clem not rewriting the book, just maybe editing it for a new edition. And Blink Stalkers being arguably the most microable early game unit in the game. I'm not surprised to see such a focus on him. He's even got a Warp Prism, putting on the extra pressure. Third base is on the way, but there's nothing here. It's just a bunker, which is effectively nothing, just bunks in. Yeah, a little like the SCVs. Nope, it goes back the other way. Stim isn't done, Combat Shield, no +1. But there's several Marauders, which will give away the build here. But until there's Stimmies, get a blinking back and regular blinking. Quite a play. Target for, oh my god. Oh, sweet Tassadar. Ooh. Did he lose any? Oh no. That could change very quickly though. A lot of these are badly bruised. Stim is done. He's still Yeah, this is starting to, well, the shields aren't really coming back. Still though, okay, well, that's over. 12 SCVs, 2 Marauders, 18 Marines. Now, a few of those were the Adepts early, but that Blink Micro. But the bunker's got nothing in it. He was anticipating a blink to the back, but instead, Clem, right through the front door. The boys are pulled. The Marauders are getting a lot of... He blunks on top. Gonna target the Marauders one at a time. But... Oh, no! He lost the prism! It's a disaster! Oh, no! Oh! Well, Clem, riding so high with such impeccable Blink Micro. But, now I think he needs a hero. He goes from 2 Stalkers, and that's it lost, to 15 Stalkers and a Prism. It is a total and utter disaster. I saw some hesitation in that blink. Alright, that's the difference between Hero and anyone else. Hero would have blinked 3 times by then. Clem was like, you know what? I think I can. No, you're thinking. Big mistake. And now it costs him. But how much? It's looking very close to everything, but these units, there's no medevacs. In fact, the factory's just finishing. The probes are now going to be taking the hits. Knocks out 8 of them. Warps in a couple more Stalkers mid-fight, just taking shots at whatever he can. These Marines and Marauders are an existential threat to Protoss units when they have their direct attention, but eventually, and at great cost, maybe? I don't like the Stalker. Oh, it hurts. Well, Maru. Putting the Maru in Marauders right now. Clem will hold. We ought to ask ourselves that question. Have you liked and subscribed? And at what cost? What have you done? And that was the oldest mistake. Too deep and too greedily. That blink. One blink too far. You might not be seeing anything at all. Is charge done? No. +1 will complete, which evens the odds here. And it's not like Maru has a super complex unit composition. It's still just Marines and Marauders. He still has no medevacs to support them, which is why Clem is able to fight this back across the field. The Blink Stalkers juggling in and out. And there's maybe, there's 6 more. How many gates? 8 gates. Clem has a 4th base. He's sending the Warp Prism into the corner. There's real opportunities here. Maru is entirely reliant on this momentum. And a Warp Prism at the back is the definition of ways to undercut it. Makes sense, don't worry about it. Slurps a few zealots out of there. Gonna rejoin with the army at the front. Not exactly an easy location to attack into on the high ground ramp. Gonna try to cut down the Marines and goes right back into the Warp Prism. Keeping Maru anchored at home, goes for the front. But again, the charge lot's getting easily distracted. Sentry. Painful. yet quick death. Clem is trying to pull out of the gateway composition and add in a little more flavor here. Not that the Protoss would know what that is, but as a Terran, Clem might. Though usually the only flavor they recognize is salt. A scan, that's a whole lot of charge lots. Will Maru batten down more of the base? Honestly, you don't want to wall off. You just want to funnel. Because since the Zealots are so ranged challenged, having just a few buildings in the way to funnel the Zealots into a location where you can fire on them one by one is clearly the ideal choice, as Maru has demonstrated on very frequent occasion. Well, Ghost Academy's on the way, 2-2 for both sides, but it's going to be a little quicker for Clem. The charge lot's coming in, Guardian Shield helps out, but a couple siege tanks on the high ground, providing a whole lot of support. The Warp Prism, this is an orbital command on the way, Immortal shows up, Stalkers get caught off to the side, and again, the attention is split. Clem, with a lot of his units unfocused, and Maru, on the other hand, is able to bring everything to bear. It's a single sentry, but one force field I don't think is going to do much. He saves the sentry, maybe tries to turn it around. A force field, emotional support field there. But again, the gateway units in this sort of situation with this much firepower. The Colossi are in production, but it is a significantly less stable situation than we saw in the previous game. Warp Prism loaded up again. I don't think Maru caught a glimpse of it. And that outlying base is such a vulnerability. The Prism just goes into the natural. Gonna try to undercut. A huge warping. He's gonna try to combine with the main attack. Widow Mines, though, splashing over many of the Zealots. Warp Prism's taken down. And Maru pushes back on both sides. And now, the supply reflects it.
You know, I didn't want to say 1 p.m. Pacific. I was like, what is it?
He's not going to be out
Eastern. I was like, you know what? Forget it. It's their problem. It's 1 p.m. Pacific.
10 gates, 2 robots.
It's their problem.
And not enough. The Colossus caught coming across the map.
Edge alert.
It's not
Jim,
the first unit, but it's ready to make it the last.
Yep.
As Maru is
Big block
rolling
for
across the map. The
8,400.
medevacs are low on
Because it
energy.
costs more to make those. So that's the trade-off. A lot of guys only are fixated on the price. They only think in terms of their buy, but they're not thinking in terms of their sell. To me, I feel like with this, because you got a little bit of time, you have more versatility, flexibility, you can spend it, trade it, etc. When a guy walks in the store and they sell us this, we pay him a little bit below spot. When a guy walks in the store to sell these back to us, it doesn't happen very often while people are stacking.
Both markets here
Critical damage.
in an extremely aggressive move.
Maru
I'm
turns
gonna
it
move my
around.
ES up to 30s.
Depowers the robotics facility. And depowers left. GG. Maru with the equalizer.
We could just rally 5 bars past the break, which would take us out.
That went from the best to the worst
See, we
place
started
so
that rally
quickly.
at the rally above the
Aptly named.
10:25 high. I would count this as the first bar at 10.
That blink micro
It'd be till
so
11:30 if we have a
So
25 minute
right up
time
until
cycle
it
rally.
really wasn't.
Is it a good time to buy
And that's
silver
how
now
easy it's
that
so
you
Yeah,
far.
if you don't worry about
over
higher
60?
time frames, how can you protect yourself about catching knives? So
hindsight?
I will occasionally catch a knife.
Oh, yeah.
Second.
You know, in a sense of like, you don't really know you're catching a knife
Not
on the
mistaken,
first
it's
try,
approximately
but you
25
kinda
trillion,
know
but
you're
both.
catching it on the
There's no
second
take
try.
back seats. Even recall takes quite a while.
In a sense of like,
Yeah.
you're gonna take stop
And it
outs
wasn't clear it was a disaster. Until it was
in
sparked.
trading in general,
It
but
doesn't
it's when you
report
take
the
multiple
ultimate
stop outs in the same
monitor
direction
Dell
that I
has
You
you
pull
covered
even
right
half a
here
dozen SCVs,
with their
and
brand
because
new
Stalker
ultra sharp
that
single
52
target
Thunderbolt
units.
hub monitor. So
The
yeah,
They
answer
aren't
there is
perfectly
very
52
complicated.
inches, as you can see, for ultimate
I would
product
say
activity.
that
Now, if you're wondering, this
we never
is
meant to say we don't worry
It
too
only
much
takes
about
is a
with a
few extra
resolution
seconds
high
of
to
time
draw.
frames. That would be
6144 by
wailing on the
45.
The question
It's going to be
was,
a
things to go sideways.
120
do they all have to
hertz
align?
monitor,
That's different
and
than
it is going to be
I don't
don't care about high
Black,
temperatures.
supporting Thunderbolt 4 connectivity.
you have-
Of course,
if you're
it's going to
catching at
have
night,
other connectivity as well. It
if the market's
actually
sliding,
has a built-in
you
hub
have
on
to be
there,
looking at high
as you can
temperatures.
see.
Because if the
But
market's
for
moving
all
like
the
that, you need to know
they
where to
definitely
go.
have you covered.
You're gonna
This
lose
is
high
going to be
time.
available now for $28.99
I would
with
hope
the
so.
stand, but if you want
Trying
without
to
the
catch
stand,
night
it's
or
going to be
you've done the area,
$27.99.
you do that.
So
It's
let
a
me know
high
in the
temperature
comments
area.
if you would go ahead and pick this up.
So,
Productivity
stick it in the air.
Dell has you covered right here with their brand new ultra-sharp 52 Thunderbolt Monster. Yeah, this is
When God wants to make a new house, he don't craft it.
Hey, we don't. The internet used to feel simple. One browser, one.
So let me know in the comments if you go ahead and pick this up. Because these are the ultimate productivity monitors.
When God wants to make a new house,
With the brand new ultra-sharp 52 Thunderbolt Hub monitor. So yeah, 52 inches, as you can see, the ultimate product.
If you need some extra storage for your PC for like $5, then go to your thrift store and find one of these cable TV boxes. They were made in the last 10 years or so. Chances are there's at least a 1 terabyte hard drive just hiding in there. This one is $4.49. So let's leave this home and I'll show you how to get that hard drive out of it. This assembly is going to vary model to model, but if you have one just like this, you kind of just literally rip it apart. Not joking, that's actually how easy it is to get inside of one. And time for the grand reveal. Oh wait, I guess it's right there, but it's a 1 terabyte. Nice. These ones also come with a free spine. Alright, now just a couple more screws and I drive it truly out of there. Now we are left with a standard hard drive and you can see that SATA connection just like what your computer uses. Alright, time to test it out on my computer. I have this USB dock and we will need to format it. Boom, came right up. This info to check the health, just good. Nice. If you need some extra storage for your PC for like $5, then go to your thrift store, find one of these cable TV boxes. They were made in the last 10 years or so. Chances are there's at least a 1 terabyte hard drive just hiding in there. This one is $4.49. So let's bring this home and I'll show you how to get that hard drive out of it. This assembly is going to vary model to model, but if you have one just like this, you kind of just literally rip it apart. Not joking, that's actually how easy it is to get inside of one. And time for the grand reveal. Oh wait, I guess it's right there, but it's a 1 terabyte. Nice. These ones also come with a free sponge. Alright, now just a couple more screws and I drive it truly out of there. Now we are left with a standard hard drive and you can see that SATA connection just like what your computer uses. Alright, time to test it out on my computer. I have this USB dock and we will need to format it. Boom, came right up. Use crystal disk info to type the health, which is good. Nice. If you need some extra storage for your PC for like $5, then go to your thrift store, find one of these cable TV boxes. They were made in the last 10 years or so. Chances are there's at least a 1 terabyte hard drive just hiding in there. This one is $4.49. So let's bring this home and I'll show you how to get that hard drive out of there. This assembly is going to vary model to model, but if you have one just like this, you kind of just literally rip it apart. Not joking, that's actually how easy it is to get inside of one of these. And time for the grand reveal. Oh wait, I guess it's right there, but it's a 1 terabyte. Nice. These ones also come with a free sponge. Alright, now it's just a couple more screws and that drive is truly out of there. Now we are left with a standard hard drive and you can see that SATA connection just like what your computer uses. Alright, time to test it out on my computer. I have this USB dock and we will need to format it. Boom, came right up. Use crystal disk info to check the health, which is good. Nice. If you need some extra storage for your PC for like $5, then go to your thrift store, find one of these cable TV boxes. They were made in the last 10 years or so. Chances are there's at least a 1 terabyte hard drive just hiding in there. This one is $4.49. So let's bring this home and I'll show you how to get that hard drive out of there. This assembly is going to vary model to model, but if you have one just like this, you kind of just literally rip it apart. Not joking, that's actually how easy it is to get inside of one of these. And time for the grand reveal. Oh wait, I guess it's right there, but it's a 1 terabyte. Nice. These ones also come with a free sponge. Alright, now it's just a couple more screws and I drive it truly out of there. Now we are left with a standard hard drive and you can see that SATA connection just like what your computer uses. Alright, time to test it out on my computer. I have this USB dock and we will need to format it. Boom, came right up. I like to use crystal disk info to check the health, which is good. Nice. If you need some extra storage for your PC for like $5, then go to your thrift store, find one of these cable TV boxes. They were made in the last 10 years or so. Chances are there's at least a 1 terabyte hard drive just hiding in there. This one is $4.49. So bring this home and I'll show you how to get that hard drive out of there. This assembly is going to vary model to model, but if you have one just like this, you kind of just literally rip it apart. Not joking, that's actually how easy it is to get inside of one. And time for the grand reveal. Oh wait, I guess it's right there, but it's 1 terabyte. Nice. These ones also come with a free spot. Alright, now it's just a couple more screws and that drive is truly out of there.
They're a minimum of
Now we're left with a standard hard drive, and you can see that saving connection just like what your computer is. Alright, time to test it out on my computer. I have this USB dock, and we will need to format it. Boom, came right up. Use this info to check the helm, which is good. Nice. If you need some extra storage for your PC for like $5, then go to your thrift store, find one of these cable TV boxes. They were made in the last 10 years or so.
Here too, to narrow this down, I could go into, let's see, it could actually be, let's see, I think stock still has, no it doesn't, it doesn't. I have this average volume down here, and I'm going to add that in. I think it is actually studied. It is a study, isn't it? Yeah, I haven't used it for a little bit. I've just been creating some of the codes. But if you come over here under study, you can actually also set, there's some really good criteria to select, like average volume, already pre-built in. So, it's got over, I'll just say 250, well, we could say 500,000 shares on average minimum, bare minimum. It can't be higher, but average volume. Okay. And then from this, I could scan out a larger basket of stocks. For example, I could go, instead of the S&P 500, I could scan for, you know, say for example, the Russell 1000. And you said, what is that? Well, the Russell 1000, I believe, has still many, vast majority of the S&P 500 in it, but it's also got, like, several large cap stocks. You could do that one. You could also do, if you wanted to look at all stocks, because you've already made some price and volume reductions or filters here, you could just say category, all stocks, and search that way as well. So I'm just saying there's a lot more you can do to find what you're after if you wanted to expand it beyond the S&P 500. Now, having said that, we are just going to look at the S&P 500, but I wanted to just highlight that. So I'm going to scan, hold up right now.
Y'all just scratching and rubbing on motherfuckers.
Normally, it popped up. I just wanted to rescan it again to see what else we would have there.
I'm so stressed.
But, yeah, we'll share that scan right now while we're waiting. Here is the scan. And by the way, here is a look at the scan too. So it's very, very simple. It's very basic. I have it set so that I have a minimum scan bars. It has to be in the TTN squeeze for at least 3 bars. Three bars in total. So it can go back as far as you want. But you could say like 20 here, but 3 normally is what traders will look for.
Power distribution.
For some reason, I'm not getting any hits right now. That's too bad, because that list was it. What's going on there? That's funny. But anyways, you could change that, but that's the bare minimum I have. You can see here an input and a number listed over here in terms of the length of things that we've got here too. Let's try that one. I didn't want you to go, but the good thing is that I did look at it already. I've looked at some of the stocks. That's crazy. It's not working right now, but this does work. Let's share it. Here is the share of the scan. And a quick note on this scan, everybody, is that it is not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. That's the pink scripts themselves. Okay. Just as a heads up there. Okay. And I wanted to note that because you know, as long as the data goes flowing into the platform is good data and is good data, that I've my experience, then they should work mathematically. But just this is a quick note, not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. That's so funny that it didn't. By the way, folks, about 53 come up. I just want to see if there was any new ones that came up. And what news is well, I'm gonna actually I'm gonna show you what didn't pop up on the list. So the scan does work. And by the way, can anybody post it in your Thinkorswim platform and just make sure that it's working right now? It might be that Thinkorswim is down. That's a very rare event, but it might have happened. That could be the case.
still a lot of mining time.
So after all of that, it's finally at a
let's
point
do
where I
this.
could test it and actually turn it on.
Let's see, I want to just show you what else popped up. So I want to look at this one popped up in the MIXTYPE. You can see it over here. We've been in the TTM squeeze for a long time. In fact, we've been in the TTM squeeze for about, this is a rare event. This is the one that has the most that I saw out there. Reggie, thank you. It is working. Appreciate it. Yeah, it just doesn't work when I do it because I'm presenting, right? Why would it work now? So anyway, 39 bars within the compressor. Bollinger Band within the Keltner channel, 39
So all you can do
days.
is get out the
You can
multimeter
see,
and try and
have we
figure
had a
out
big
what
run up here? What it's telling us behind the scenes is there's an extreme level of price compression, even over earnings. So if you lump all this together, it's really tight. Now, what does this set up for potentially? Do you guys see the possibility of a breakout? Would that be an interesting level, perhaps? Or a breakout being extended back all the way since November for the possibility of a breakout? Okay, good. Thanks all. Appreciate that. No results from me. Look, Kevin's got maybe in the same boat I'm in, but it is working. It just took a little bit. Okay, yeah, I think we might see some general slowness depending upon accounts, but it is working. It worked for me right before class, so I'm not sure. But the whole idea here, folks, is if this breakout occurs, we don't know, but from a technical perspective, it could be rather large. If it's to the up or the down, it could still be to the downside. But this is what traders will look for here.
But we're just gonna stare at you then.
Yeah. A 53. Perfect. You guys got it. And by the way, for those of you that are not familiar with this, just a quick note. Go up top to the setup right here and come down and just click on Open Shared Item. Post that link in here. And then what you're going to want to do, just like that, click on Preview. Name it what it is. That's the best way, the easiest way in the world to find it. TTM scan, for example. Something like that, import it, and then when you go into your scan tab, you come over here, go to load, and you'll find it in your personal list. Okay? Alright, just this, because everybody needs to know how to do it the first time.
So he needs to get something done.
Okay, Barb confirmed it as well. Thank you all. Let us know that works. Okay, so the whole idea here is, and by the way, mine just began working again. So I came back to it and it's up all of a sudden. So it took a while. But normally, honestly, this one, the first time I hit it, it was like a second or less. But as you can see right there, the time became vary. Alright, well, if you're getting value out of this presentation, smash that like button and let us know that you are liking this presentation, folks. Also, if you follow Barton on X, here's something that I posted that might be of interest to you guys. Tied into our discussion today a little bit. I posted this on X here, and this is just basically, you know, the performance year to date that we've seen in our sector, the sectors out here. What's been performing? This is over the last week. So this can be helpful in sort of understanding sector rotation at different times. I'll post this link down here if you guys want to take a look at this or others. For sure, again, to follow Barb on Strong CS as well. Alright, that is what I had there. Now, we have to continue on a few different items. So let's do this. What I'm going to do is go in here and just emphasize what this means again. When we see the TTM squeeze, we're seeing unusual, sort of rare, in terms of Bollinger Band or Keltner channel setups in terms of reduction of price volatility, which over the same time frame, because the market is doing the same thing, both should influence a rather large move. And we're looking on the right side, I should say, the upside or the downside, whichever one that is you're looking for, the bigger moves that occur. And so as we come back to the ones that are popping up there, I want to show you some others in here. So let's say, so you've got some of the semiconductors up top as well, and XPI. Okay, this is one of those in the semiconductor group. Now, it is not done with the NASDAQ is done, which is this. it is held up and remains stronger. And if you look closely at this, we've got a fair level of resistance right through there. Trying to draw a straight line, guys.
Another thing
I'm
that I
not
wanted to be able
readjusting
to do was very
to it, but it's
easily
about
remove the
240.
Raspberry Pi from
And you
inside
can
this
see us break
device.
above,
And
and
the
now what are
idea
we
behind
doing?
that
We
is
are
that
holding.
you
We didn't do that here.
with having
Not
the
there, not even
keyboard
close
and
there,
the
not
mouse,
here,
and all sorts of different
not
things
here,
like this Wi-Fi.
now, and
In the
there's
back,
your
there's a quick connector so
TTM
you can attach things like
squeeze. So
Adafruit
again, we're
I2C
looking for,
sensors.
what is it, folks?
There's also
It's
an
the
external GPIO header so that you can connect any standard Raspberry Pi shield that you want to this device. Another thing that I wanted to be able to do was very easily remove the Raspberry Pi from inside this device. And the idea behind that was that you in the back there's a quick connector so you can attach things like Adafruit I2C sensors. There's also an external GPIO header so that you can connect any standard Raspberry Pi shield that you want to this device. Another thing that I wanted to be able to do was very easily remove the Raspberry Pi from inside this device. And the idea behind that was that you can program it with having the keyboard and a mouse and all the different sensors and stuff to program and test whatever you want to do. And you can program that within the device and then be able to easily remove it so that you can put it in whatever it's intended for. So it has these quick eject handles that allow you to pull the display and USB cables out of the Raspberry Pi, and then all you have to do is remove it from inside the case. Admittedly, I could have made that a little bit better. Dimensions inside the case are really tight, so it could be easier to get it out of the enclosure. But once you get it out, all you have to do is take the GPIO header off, and then the Raspberry Pi is completely free to do whatever you want. And if you don't want to take the entire Raspberry Pi out, you can access the SD card so you can transfer images between Raspberry Pis. It's got the tactile feel of a mechanical keyboard with a whole bunch of interactive LED modes to make typing more fun. I put together a quick graphical user interface to show the readout of all the different inputs, including the rotary knob, the 4 push buttons, and the linear slider. There's also some readouts for sensors, which I'll be showing you shortly. So with everything done and complete, I figured I'd put together a little demo to kind of show what you can do with this. Its use of sensors and the screens, and just to kind of demonstrate what you can do with a cyber deck like this. I wanted to use a combination of different I2C sensors to show the capability of chaining a bunch of sensors together to measure something. So for this little demo experiment, I decided to use a lux or light sensor on the bottom of this glass beaker, a temperature sensor to measure the internal temperature, and then a pH to measure the pH value of whatever liquid is in the beaker. So I started by adding some just room temperature water, and as you can see, the light sensor doesn't really change much because of the clearness of the liquid. And as I put in the temperature sensor, you'll see it start to regulate at about room temperature. As for the pH level reads about 7. So to see the contrast of a liquid that would change all these values, I decided to use some hot coffee. The coffee immediately increases the water temperature and reduces the light intensity because it can't see through that murky liquid. And then as I measure with the pH level drops significantly because coffee naturally is more acidic than water. This is just one kind of experiment or a different development type project that you could do with a Raspberry Pi deck like this, where you have a whole bunch of different inputs that you can use. Like most of the things I do, this was a completely new experience for me, and there were a lot of things that I had to learn along the way. But I think I ended up with something that's pretty unique and useful too. And if you thought it was cool and you want to build one yourself, I've included all the documentation and part files on GitHub. You can find a link to that in the description below. And if you want to see more sci-fi projects like this, make sure to stick around for the next one.
side protection. If they motherfucking don't sell them. They do all that work. But then they don't be like, and if you want one of these bad boys, link is in the description. The link is in the motherfucking description. You talking about what?
In fact, I'll let you open the vault.
Oh, okay. You're gonna let me open it, all right? Let's see.
All right.
What?
So we have 20 zones of audio in the house.
20 zones. This is probably the biggest one that I've seen in a residence so far. Oh my goodness. Yeah, just miles of cable. This house is built like a high-rise.
So many hits
really,
here.
Really fantastic.
It's hard to get this many in S&P 500. It's like 10% of the index are doing it. But let me tell you why.
Here in Atlanta,
Because
Georgia, with
I
the
think this is
coolest
why.
man cave
I think it would definitely lead to being as to why.
We've got this beautiful
That
outdoor
is, we
area
looked at it
coming
initially,
in
and that
to
is
probably the
right
biggest
here.
video
You guys
wall
can
you've ever
visually
seen in a home. This is
S&P
a
500
20-foot
itself.
wide by 5.5 foot tall video
So
wall.
again,
I've got
that is
Mark,
all about
Motor Safety, all the integrators. He's going to walk us through everything that he did in his home, including something really special to help with every side of the frame. We're going to tell you all about it.
Now,
Stick
go
with
through
us
this
to
list.
this video. Check it out.
Let's just do something local with the SYK too, but
It's here, and that's what's mostly driving it.
so
But
given
you
it
have
was crap, been raising
right now, we're
one by the way, dividends, whatever you want to, they can't be cut any time they have it.
so what we're looking at here,
by the way,
just a small wood, right here in the middle of Right, so you can sit on the couch over here. Black Adam. Probably a week. Well, this is incredible. Flanking position down to the and so you can get your workout on, have some music bumping, have a game playing in the back there. You know, really, like I said,
And this is a separate audio zone. Playing out here.
Yeah, my voice is changed, but they'll pick up all
add to that too. That's why there's a big move, right? Could there be a bigger move perhaps? We'll see. It's all but there you go. In fact, I'll let you open it. If it's
We have 20 zones of audio.
So 20 zones off that low.
From blazing this fire red hot. Yo, Babylon, we burn you right from the clock. Make sure to turn the Rasta man, you are no bad knock. Not tell me about no hip, and not tell me about no up. No, I hear about your flip, no one. Hear about no cop, no one. Know about your soul, I no one know about you. I walk to the boy, I'm on the skin of my head. Blazing hot.
By the way, one quick thing. This should be giving us welcome to the
There's a high five green zone here.
Use that list. By the way, we'll talk a little bit more about these concepts. Look at more interactive. We have to burn them up. 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 Okay, so some of these, they've been positioning for a little bit of a cup and handle, perhaps. We don't know if we'll see that. The good news is, folks, I've left you here today with a lot of companies you can take a look at and the scan itself to help you along the way. Now, one final thing before we're done. I have to state this because this scan was initially built, the concept for it. We built this down here, if you guys are interested, in this ThinkScript class. So the ThinkScript class that we do over here, we'll add different concepts and different indicators. In fact, we do take topic requests for this as well if you guys are looking for certain sorts of scans or whatever the case is. But it's really trading ThinkScript. A lot of great tools you get, and this is one of them that came out of this class, is actually the TTM Squeeze. So I'll put this down here as well if you guys want to check this out. We have quite a few classes in there. The last one we did was just on, well, what was it? Oh, yeah, trading, finding and trading momentum stuff.
This is the Nerd Octax, perhaps one of the most powerful, compact, and cool home solo Bitcoin miners of its generation.
Oh, Barb's already posted it.
My name is Mike. I've been in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mining since 2017, and in that time, I've mined on GPUs, CPUs, FPGAs, big ASICs that you run in the commercial warehouses, small ASICs that you run in your home, and really just this last year or two, the rise of home solo miners has got me really interested, and that's exactly what this is. This is a home Bitcoin solo miner that gives you a chance to mine Bitcoin in your home without all of the electrical infrastructure, noise, heat that would be materialized from running a big ASIC Bitcoin miner. And also, it's definitely advertised and positioned to give you a chance to hit a Bitcoin block, like winning the lottery. And there's a lot of different blockchains that you can mine with this besides Bitcoin, maybe even one you haven't heard of, and I'm going to cover that later in this video. So performance-wise, why this one's exciting is it's 9.6 terahash, and so to put that in perspective, if you're familiar with the bit axes, they do about 1.1, 1.2 terahash, so it is literally having 8 bit axes in one unit with one power supply, making this really nice and compact if you're interested in home Bitcoin solo mining. Underneath the fans and heat sinks in the front, that performance is driven by 8 BM1370s. Those are Bitmains, ASIC chips that you will find in the S21 Pros, which are the big ASIC miners that you definitely don't want to run at home. Wattage-wise, for that 9.6 terahash, we're pulling 200 watts. You can see it measured, plugged into the meter right there. Now, I've already gone through and set up this Nerd Octax as you see, but if you need help setting something up like this from scratch, I have a whole video on that. I'll leave it linked up in the card above for how to set up a Nerdax. But we're going to take a look at its performance here in the computer. So looking at Power Mining's website, which is where this is from, again, is advertised to do 9.6 terahash per second. And when I scroll down here, one of the oddities that I found is it is advertised for 160 watts, and then a little later on is advertised for 180 watts at that 9.6 terahash. As you can see, we're doing more than that, and I'm running just stock right now, doing about 200 watts. So take that into account if you are interested in running this right at home. Let's go take a look and see if I'm hitting that performance. So we're on the Nerd OctaAxis dashboard, and you can see right there under hash rate, I'm doing 9,666.77 gigahash per second, which is exactly 9.6 terahash. Efficiency on this, I'm coming in at 18.78 joules per terahash. That is how much performance I'm getting for how much power it is using. And when I scroll down here, one of the things that I thought was really unique about this machine is its cooling setup. So it has these two great fans right in the front, but additionally it has a fan on the rear of the aluminum stand, on the inside of the aluminum stand that it comes with to help more with airflow, and it's definitely doing its job. Right now the ASIC chip's temperature is 55 degrees Celsius. The voltage regulator temperature is 44.4 degrees Celsius. And the fans aren't even running at 100%. They're only running about 77% on the fan speed.
But I'm gonna
and why
say
that's
this.
important to me is it tells me there's room for these fans to ramp up even more to keep this cool when I do overclocking, which we're going to explore later in this video.
I can't
Other things we
glorify
should take a look at
like,
here that
like,
are
let
unique
me say
specifically to this miner
I can't
is that
glorify no E because there ain't no
overclocking. So let's
glory
go
no
take a look.
Nah,
and
ain't no
what
glory
we're
no
going to
E.
find is
And I'm
its
not, and I'm gonna say this. I'm
default
not
is
saying
600,
that. I'm gonna say this.
and the
People
core
that do
voltage
what they
is
do is
1150.
fine.
But I got quite
Because
a
see,
bit
God
of
love
room
us all.
to
Remember
continue
that
to
in
go
John
up there
3:16,
if
He
I
didn't
want
come to condemn the world.
And then I can always enter the
So you
danger
can't,
zone,
you
which I
can't knock a
definitely will
person.
be
See,
doing.
and that's
So just
that
type
was one of my
anything that I
main things
want
with a
into
lot
this
of stuff, and I
frequency
know
to
it
get
is with a lot
to
of
go
people.
above
A lot of
that
people don't want
600
it. Man,
default
that's they
limit.
working
I
on
can do
church
the
just
same
because
thing for
people
the core
talking
voltage,
against
and I can
certain
go in
things.
different increments.
So
than
I
what it lets
don't
me
knock
do by
nobody for
default
the
here. So we're
journey
gonna
that
explore
they're
that later in
on.
this video because that's a
Because
ton
I'm
of
on
fun.
mine.
Just
See
to
what I'm
see
saying?
what kind of
I could
performance that
never
I can
say
get
that I
out of
wouldn't do
this thing.
music.
Okay, other things I should take a look at. I'm mining over to ckpool.org right now. It's where I have all of my solar miners mining to, and I always have a fallback strategy just in case I drop connection to ckpool or they go down. I have via BTC entered in here. It will shift over to via BTC and continue to mine Bitcoin, meaning that I have no downtime at all. And Via BTC is also the sponsor of today's video. They are a mining pool around since 2016. You can mine Bitcoin, you can mine Litecoin and Dogecoin and Caspa on there. They have features like auto conversions. So if you're mining a certain cryptocurrency, but you'd rather not have that one, you can convert it into a different cryptocurrency. They also have features like auto withdrawal. Once you hit a certain amount, it will auto withdraw so you can get them off the pool into cold storage. If you want to check out Via BTC and sign up for an account.
Alright, Snowspec Monkey Boy here with Persistent Systems. Welcome to our booth at Chacho. I think we'll first start over here. So we'll come over here. So this is the MPU5. And I just want to kind of highlight some of our new products that we didn't get to show off yet. This is a PT5. So what this is a wireless device. So now instead of having all these wires coming down to my end user device onto my REC, I can just connect to my end user device via Wi-Fi to the PT5, which connects to the MPU5. And through that, I can use any applications such as ATAC to access the network. So what does that mean? I can pull up video feeds. I can pull up dots on a map. I can see cursor on target. So this feed we're pulling from our UAS system here in the booth. So the second part of this device over here, it actually has a SIM card holder. So what this allows you to do is access, any pre-existing 5G network. You can put an AT&T, Verizon SIM in there, and now you're able to access that beyond line of sight capability, right? So you lose RF coverage, and it will immediately kick over to 5G, and you'll still be able to communicate beyond line of sight. So that's our PT5 here. If you come over here, so some of the changes that we brought to the booth this year,
you know, we added more UGV systems, and we wanted to add an air layer to our booth as well. So we have some UAS systems. On the left here, we have the FLIR R70 Sky Ranger. So that actually has an embedded module that sits between the payload and the drone itself. And we're able to access that video feed. We can fly it as long as we're on the network. And we are that data connection between the actual operator and the drone itself. Next to it, we have a 3D printed drone that is built around our embedded module. So you see like the embedded module sits on the bottom, we have 3 antennas coming down, and all the other parts of that are just 3D printed. So that's another drone that we can throw on the network. We just wanted to show that you don't need to, you don't need a prefabricated drone. You can just simply build one in-house, so for a lot of law enforcement, that have some restrained budgets, that's a great option. To control that one, we just use Q ground control, and we're able to access the video feed and control the drone itself. Come over here. So we have a diversity of UGV systems this year as well. So as always, the fan favorite, we have the Boston Dynamics Spot robot, and Niles is going to control it for us. Next to it, we have 2 FLIR First Look Throwbots that have our embedded module systems that are sitting on top of them. And then over here, we have a Paraton Remote Tech SR1. Again, with an MPU-5 on the back of it. So we wanted to showcase that, hey, you could use any robotic system that's on our network, and just through the MPU-5, you can take control, you can take command and control, and you can, Niles is driving it right now, I can take control of it, or I can drive the first one while Niles is driving the Boston Dynamics robot. So I'll take control of the viewpoint.
Give me 7 breaks. What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to pick my dudes up right now as we speak. Take her to the grocery store. And once we done grocery shopping for this winter storm that's supposed to come this weekend, which I hope don't come, I'm taking her to this cheesesteak spot in Tacoma, Maryland. It's a little butcher shop. It's called Selco. Now I was told that they the #1 cheesesteak spot in the DMV. But I also was told that Cheesesteak & Co. was the #1 cheesesteak spot in the DMV. And I also was told Italiano and Different Steaks was #1. Look at this. Oh, my shot. Oh, you better try. Another guy, his first time meeting. Look at this, man. I hope it's not too small. Brad about to be wearing them over. Save you something. We don't know how to save people no Brad. Sesame seed hoagie roll. I like that. But I also like the softness.
Sir, get some uneven terrain.
So we've had a little bit of battle bots going on all week here. So yeah, as you can see, you can take control of any platform. So as long as you're on the network. So we're just trying to show, you know, it doesn't matter if it's FLIR, Boston Dynamics, or Remote Tech Paradigm, as long as it's using the MPU5 as the data link, and you can take control of it. So this is our mobile command center, or our incident command truck set up here. So over here we have, you know, anything from video feeds from Boston Dynamics robot to WinTAC for situational awareness and, you know, as a Blue Force tracker. Another feed from our booth here via the Mohawk camera sitting on top of the mannequin, to a cloud relay feed from Colorado. On the bottom here, we actually have a radio over IP setup. So we have a Motorola APX connected to an MPU5, and that is all being monitored here on the speaker box. So any audio traffic that's coming in through the Motorola, we can actually monitor in here, right? So we're just bridging two networks together. So if you have MPU5 traffic, audio traffic coming in, and Motorola traffic coming in, you can easily monitor it from here. So what we've demonstrated here is Wave Relay is the data fabric that not only brings you command and control over robotic systems, but also brings in data from our UAS platforms, video feeds from all over the world with our Beyond Line of Sight solution, which is Cloud Relay, and it makes it consumable all right here in our mobile command center, located in our booth. And that's it. Thank you for joining us.
If you like this video and want to support us, check out the MIXTYPE Monkey Store. Although known for round patches, we also specialize in a good selection of DIY hardware and tactical accessories.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a much shorter video than normal. I was actually working on a pretty big project I think a lot of you guys are really going to enjoy, but it's taking a lot of work behind the scenes to kind of get everything downloaded and up and running and recorded and everything. So it's a big project, it's going to be fun, but with Season 2 dropping tomorrow for Battlefield 6, I figured I should go over the controversy that came out today. I say controversy because anything involving Battlefield right now can be pretty toxic at times. Some people will claim that the game is completely dead, other people are going to fight tooth and nail saying that everything is just fine, but then we got a deleted Twitter post today from one of the biggest gaming news sources out there, and it's just muddying the waters even further and further, fueling the fire. So the gameplay here is actually from Modern Warzone. Got to play Season 2 a bit early, and he posted this unedited gameplay over to Twitter, so that kind of explains why the video might look a bit worse than usual. It's literally a recording of a Twitter video, but the gameplay is of the new map, and I figured you guys might want to check that out. Plus, I always like seeing my fellow engineers going out there and wreaking havoc. Doug's got some freaking motion going on here for somebody who barely even plays Battlefield 6, but let's get into it here. What was the big controversy today? Well, what ended up happening was Charlie Intel, who I've used as a source here in the channel countless times, he posted this to Twitter. The tweet was up for a couple of hours, but obviously now it's deleted, though thankfully Insider Gaming was able to save the direct quote for us. An unnamed Battlefield 6 developer commented to Charlie, after the trailer and roadmap were released, the dev team is sitting in their chairs, biting their nails, hoping as many players as possible come back to the game or check it out for the first time. So that is a direct quote from an unnamed Battlefield dev, though interestingly enough, Charlie Intel took the original post down. It was up for several hours. I made a response to it on Twitter and everything, but then at some point, I'm not even sure when, Charlie took that post down, and we're not really sure why he did that. He didn't really comment as to why he took the post down. Perhaps perhaps somebody at Battlefield Studios reached out to him like, hey Charlie, you know, we're kind of getting enough bad PR already, we don't need you fanning the flames here, but hey, it's the internet and pretty much nothing gets deleted permanently. So from the sounds of it, it's almost like DICE is not completely apathetic towards the game and towards their own player base. They do seem to care at least a little bit here, but let's be entirely real. The roadmap for Season 2 is hot garbage. It really is. It is akin to the roadmap from MW2 Season 1. There is barely anything here. There is 2 multiplayer maps and 4 guns in 3 months, and only one of the maps, which is the one you're watching here, features any sort of size and vehicle gameplay and actually feels like a Battlefield map. The roadmap here is simply not enough, man. Like, do I have to point out the fact that the last Battlefield 6 map to drop for the game was in mid-November. Eastwood, which is a good map on all accounts. I like Eastwood. I think it's pretty solid, but it came out in mid-November, guys. It's been 3 months with no new map being added to the game, and throughout the entirety of Season 2, we are only getting one full-sized map, with the other one, which comes out next month, being described as underground and close quarters and infantry only. Now, there are maps in the past people like Operation Locker, Metro, stuff like that. Some people enjoy maps like that, but Battlefield 6 is not the game for that. Battlefield 6 has enough maps right now that are like infantry only and just like team deathmatch or whatever. What people want is proper Battlefield. Basically what this boils down to is if you're a fan of traditional Battlefield with the tanks and the helicopters and the jets and all the fun stuff that makes Battlefield Battlefield, then between Eastwood, which came out in November, and Contamination here, which comes out tomorrow, DICE is only going to be releasing 2 full-sized maps in 6 freaking months, man. That is absurd. That is outlandish. That is outright lunacy, if you ask me. So, yeah, those devs who apparently are reaching out to Charlie and telling me like, hey, don't tell them what's actually going on behind the scenes here. Don't tell them we're in full tank mode or anything. Those devs, they should be biting their nails. They should be praying, because it's going to take nothing short of an absolute miracle to revive Battlefield 6 and bring it back to its former glory, which how weird is that to say? Bring Battlefield 6 back to its former glory. The game's only been out for like 4 months, but it had such a monumental fall from grace that I'm honestly hoping that in the future, freaking like A&E or something like that drops a documentary on it, because somebody needs to study the studio and figure out exactly how they can possibly be this bad at their jobs. How can they possibly fumble the biggest video game launch in the past 3 years and let it fall out of the top 10 on console, let it fall behind Call of Duty on Steam, which is incredibly freaking hard to do, by the way. COD on Steam has been hanging on by a thread for years now, and somehow Battlefield is down below that, and just, I don't get it, man. I really freaking don't. But like I said earlier, Season 2 does drop tomorrow, and despite my inherent annoyance with how they've handled the post-launch of this game, I will be giving Season 2 a shot. I will go in with an open mind. I will hope to have fun. I will try out this new map. I will try the vehicles, the weapons, and all that stuff. I always try to be as objective as possible in my reviews and in my impressions videos. Though honestly, even if this new map is amazing, and if the guns are incredible, and the new challenges and the new progression paths are all fun and everything, it's still going to take a feat of freaking divine intervention, I feel like, for this game to rebound with how horribly they've handled the post-launch. It might just end up being a situation of this new update may be really good for people that have stuck with Battlefield 6 this entire time. They may truly enjoy it, but I'm not sure if the update itself will actually be able to move the needle when it comes to bringing players back and bringing new players into the fold, which apparently is what the devs are so worried about right now. They're not talking about the current devs, they're talking about bringing people back and bringing new people in, because their player count numbers are ridiculously freaking bad. So all that remains to be seen as of right now. Again, Season 2 does drop tomorrow, so until then, I hope you guys all enjoyed this quick little video here today. Leave your thoughts and feedback on the now deleted comments that came from the Battlefield 6 developers. Be sure to sub to the channel if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for listening. And until tomorrow, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.
very soon might be too late. Clem's just gonna go forward. We're going into a full base trade. The boys are pulled. And somehow, well, he recalls onto the army, but the widow lines could be, oh no! Huge hits! Maru baits him into the mines. And a disastrous recall. And Clem, I think it actually kind of worked out. That Colossus still lives. 3 of them now. There's only a couple Vikings. The thermal lance is doing terrible, terrible damage. The boys are full. Everything being constrained. He's gonna try to drop on top, which is not the ideal methodology. It's still not enough. Clem losing a couple battles, but winning the war. The drop went well, but he never does. The Colossus lived the entire game. It popped out of the rowboat and almost got knocked out in its opening seconds, but it lived the rest of them, which means the Clempire strikes back. And we're going to game number 5, the League Cup final. Technically the finals of 2025, because all the cups were held in 2025, and now we're doing the grand finals when everybody's scheduling works out. But a roller coaster. Clem going toe to toe with the best and non-Clem player in the world. I think Clem has already proved his road dog is world class. If he beats Maru, that's it. Like there's no one else. The rest of the list is himself. And Maru's like game 5. Proxy ranks time. Really? This is the most Maru thing in the history of StarCraft 2. Quite literally. Maru absolutely notorious. There was a time, it includes today, but when are you ahead? Proxy ranks. Are you behind? Proxy ranks. Match point? Proxy ranks. First game of the series, believe it or not. Proxy ranks. But the fact that it's all on the line, every part of it, do or die. Proxy 2 ranks raw. Disgusting, beautiful, inspiring. Oh, and it works off of the fact he already did the math correct. So this is going to look quite similar to the previous. Not so all in. Like, it was early pressure, but it wasn't attempting to be game ending. If Clem expands, he could very well just lose. This SCV is coming in from a very suspicious angle. It came on. Yeah. Okay. And sound the alarms. Double alarms.
All right, Snowspec Monkey, we're here with Persistent Systems. Welcome to our booth at SHOT Show. I think we'll first start over here. So we'll come over here. So this is the MPU-5. And I just want to kind of highlight some
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we have a much shorter video than normal. I was actually working on a pretty big project I think a lot of you guys are really going to enjoy, but it's taking a lot of work behind the scenes to kind of get everything downloaded and up and running and recorded and everything, so it's a big project. It's going to be fun, but with Season 2 dropping tomorrow for Battlefield 6, I figured I should go over the controversy that came out today. I say controversy because anything involving Battlefield right now can be pretty toxic at times. Some people will claim this game is completely dead, other people are going to fight tooth and nail saying that everything is just fine, but then we got a deleted Twitter post today from one of the biggest gaming news sources out there, and it's just muddying the waters even further and further, fueling the fire. So the gameplay here is actually from Modern Warzone, who got to play Season 2 a bit early, and he posted this unedited gameplay over to Twitter, so that kind of explains why the video might look a bit worse than usual. It's literally a recording of a Twitter video, but the gameplay is of the new map, and I figured you guys might want to check that out. Plus, I always like seeing my fellow engineers going out there and wreaking havoc. Doug's got some freaking motion going on here for somebody who barely even plays Battlefield 6, but let's get into it here. What was the big controversy today? Well, what ended up happening was Charlie Intel, who I've used as a source here on the channel countless times, he posted this to Twitter. The tweet was up for a couple of hours, but obviously now it's deleted, though thankfully Insider Gaming was able to save the direct quote for us. An unnamed Battlefield 6 developer commented to Charlie, after the trailer and roadmap were released, the dev team is sitting in their chairs, biting their nails, hoping as many players as possible come back to the game or check it out for the first time. So that is a direct quote from an unnamed Battlefield dev. Though interestingly enough, Charlie Intel took the original post down. It was up for several hours. I made a response to it on Twitter and everything, but then at some point, I'm not even sure when, Charlie took that post down. And we're not really sure why he did that. He never really commented as to why he took the post down. Perhaps somebody at Battlefield Studios reached out to him like, hey Charlie, you know, we're kind of getting enough bad PR already. We don't need you fanning the flames here, but hey, it's the internet and pretty much nothing gets deleted permanently. So from the sounds of it, it's almost like DICE is not completely apathetic towards the game and towards their own player base. They do seem to care at least a little bit here, but let's be entirely real. The roadmap for Season 2 is hot garbage, being as many players as possible come back to the game or check it out for the first time. So that is a direct quote from an unnamed Battlefield dev. Though interestingly enough, Charlie Intel took the original post down. It was up for several hours. I made a response to it on Twitter and everything, but then at some point, I'm not even sure when, Charlie took that post down. And we're not really sure why. He never really commented as to why he took the post down. Perhaps somebody at Battlefield Studios reached out to him like, hey Charlie, you know, we're kind of getting enough bad PR already. We don't need you fanning the flames here, but hey, it's the internet and pretty much nothing gets deleted permanently. So from the sounds of it, it's almost like DICE is not completely apathetic towards the game and towards their own player base. They do seem to care at least a little bit here, but let's be entirely real. The roadmap for Season 2 is hot garbage. It really is. It is akin to the roadmap from MW2 Season 1. There is barely anything here. There is 2 multiplayer maps and 4 guns in 3 months, and only one of the maps, which is the one you're watching here, features any sort of size and vehicle gameplay and actually feels like a Battlefield map. The roadmap here is simply not enough, man. Like, do I have to point out the fact that the last Battlefield 6 map to drop for the game was in mid-November? Eastwood, which is a good map on all accounts. I like Eastwood. I think it's pretty solid, but it came out in mid-November, guys. It's been 3 months with no new map being added to the game, and throughout the entirety of Season 2, we are only getting one full-sized map, with the other one, which comes out next month, being described as underground and close quarters and infantry only. Now, there are maps in the past people like Operation Locker, Metro, stuff like that. Some people enjoy maps like that, but Battlefield 6 is not the game for that. Battlefield 6 has enough maps right now that are like infantry only and just like team deathmatch and whatever. What people want is proper Battlefield. Basically, what this boils down to is if you're a fan of traditional Battlefield with the tanks and the helicopters and the jets and all the fun stuff that makes Battlefield Battlefield, then between Eastwood, which came out in November, and Contamination here, which comes out tomorrow, DICE is only going to be releasing 2 full-sized maps in 6 freaking months, man. That is absurd. That is outlandish. That is outright lunacy, if you ask me. So, yeah, those devs who apparently are reaching out to Charlie Intel, being like, hey, don't tell them what's actually going on behind the scenes here. Don't tell them we're in full panic mode or anything. Those devs, they should be biting their nails. They should be
Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the 9-time GSL of ways to undercut it.
We have a
praying, because it's going to take nothing short of an absolute miracle to revive Battlefield 6 and bring it back to its former glory. Which, how weird is that to say? Bring Battlefield 6 back to its former glory. The game's only been out for like 4 months, but it had such a monumental fall from grace that I'm honestly hoping that in the future, freaking like A&E or something like that drops a documentary on it, because somebody needs to study the studio and figure out exactly how they can possibly be this bad at their jobs. How can they possibly fumble the biggest video game launch in the past 3 years and let it fall out of the top 10 on console, let it fall behind Call of Duty on Steam, which is incredibly freaking hard to do, by the way. COD on Steam has been hanging on by a thread for years now, and somehow Battlefield is down below that, and just, I don't get it, man. I really freaking don't. But like I said earlier, Season 2 does drop tomorrow, and despite my inherent annoyance with how they've handled the post-launch of this game, I will be giving Season 2 a shot. I will go in with an open mind. I will hope to have fun. I will try out this new map. I will try the vehicles and weapons and all that stuff. I always try to be as objective as possible in my reviews and in my impressions videos. Though honestly, even if this new map is amazing and if the guns are incredible and the new challenges and the progression paths are all fun and everything, it's still going to take a feat of freaking divine intervention, I feel like, for this game to rebound with how horribly they've handled the post-launch. It might just end up being a situation of this new update may be really good for the people that have stuck with Battlefield 6 this entire time. They may truly enjoy it, but I'm not sure if the update itself will actually be able to move the needle when it comes to bringing the players back and bringing new players into the fold, which apparently is what the devs are so worried about right now. They're not talking about the current devs, they're talking about bringing people back and bringing new people in, because their player count numbers are ridiculously freaking bad. So all that remains to be seen as of right now. Again, Season 2 does drop tomorrow, so until then, I hope you guys all enjoyed this quick little video here today. Leave your thoughts and feedback on the now deleted comments that came from the Battlefield 6 developers. Be sure to sub the channel if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for listening. And until tomorrow, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.
They're being used more widely now.
So would you detach it as just the scope or have it still on the weapon system?
Yes, so it'll go on the weapon system. It's got anti-skid underneath here. So you would open this up, put it over your optic, go underneath your weapon, wow. Simply buckle these buckles. In order to be quiet, you can.
We're on the East Coast, a whole different style of Mexican food from LA and from Chicago.
Not only protecting your optic, but really
very untraditional.
This is everything in my life that I want. Nothing could break the chamoy vibe.
Really great warranty.
The fat melts and it sort of binds it all together.
Cultivated corn from the field and cheese. What fucking farmer's dream of it. This is the New York hospitality right here that you need. And you hit it with the torch. And you got Andy's. Damn, yo.
Order for Carl Anthony.
Depending on my rankings,
so I'm gonna go bottom to top.
Okay.
Carne asada.
Pumping it out to go find that animal.
Sí.
Just different regions of Mexico, like the representation that we have here. I would put it against anywhere in the world.
People are very proud about these things.
It's just the flavors, it's the depth that you get. That's really like aguachile. That's the water
So that's going to protect the
of the pepper. That's literally what that. That's literally the essence of the water of the pepper.
So if they don't send you one of these forms, the original contract they signed, complete paper history.
Do that with the scope cover on.
Spring on the doors.
Some other features, it's got a padded handle so it keeps that.
We are kicking off a 3-part series of Mexican food in New York City. I said what some would say are some inflammatory statements about New York's Mexican food being far superior to Los Angeles. and anywhere else. And I truly stand by that statement. This series is a living testament to those words. The first video was all about the young guns, the upstarts.
The thing that made me most excited about this is that you're assuming restaurants.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it.
When did this place open? So how the fuck would you know? All of these chefs, taqueros, and restaurateurs have contributed to making some of the most phenomenal and unique dishes known to Mexican culinary manhood. It's incredible. That's incredible. There's different levels of game here. Oh, and we also have another show filming for at least half of this episode. It's incredible. This high, low, this, that, home food. Every style that you can imagine that you want from a fucking heritage cuisine. We have. There's so many places, man. You know, like this way. We're at Tacos right now in Greenpoint. Just real deal, no bullshit tacos. And in one breath. It's like a perfect size tortilla, like perfect amount of dressing on top of it. If you want it literally like this comes, this perfect. You already got a nice color on the trompo. That's pretty crazy. How long does it go before you carve it up? An hour, 2 hours?
So we cut the meat the previous day.
No, but like when you start it, you gotta let it go for like an hour first, right? Let it set up. Tell me. Tell me everything about the menu.
Tenéis la longaniza, gets cooked in the plancha, as well as the tortilla.
We're gonna put some new Chefo
right now it's taking care of the choricera. Tripa is the beef small intestines. And there you got the suadero, which is putting right now over there. Suadero that's beef, but it's really, really hard. So it needs to get slow cooked for 3 hours.
The best that you can find on the streets in Mexico City, tacos I grew up eating, you have the whole variety of like meats, but with one main element that kind of like put them all together, which is lard.
So the lard is in the choricera, which suadero gets cooked there, the tripa gets cooked there, the pastor, nopales and longaniza don't get cooked there. But we do dip the tortillas in there, so at the end everything has that.
That's that elixir.
Sírveme tantito, un cachito de broth, ¿no?
Ay, cuidado atrás,
Might be super hot, but just make sure we don't love.
You could go all the way up to 5.25. That's rock hard.
That elixir gave me power. I felt like a fucking bull in there. No, this is silly. I don't feel like I was able to be around anyone.
It also makes it functional.
I was straight up off the hymns. That's incredible.
And you can make this thing secure.
I mean, I hope I don't got anything, but whatever I got, it cured it.
What's your favorite?
Me specifically, I want nopales.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
We're gonna give you the nopaludo, bro. That's off menu.
Oh yeah. You kick up my nopal experience. It's something that you're not gonna get everywhere. They bring that shit and we like it. We eat it.
In the nopaludo, you get a little the magic of you sort of small char, longaniza,
and you hit it with the torch.
Look at this, look at this.
Holy shit.
Then we'll put nopales on top.
So you can blow it up with your mouth.
There it is. What do we hit on that?
Like I said, you could use anything with
all of them at once?
Yeah.
The red one is the spicy.
This guy here is a little bigger.
Spicy for real?
You have
it's like when you dress up pizza. If you put everything over there, I'm putting everything out there.
You put it on there and you blow this thing up in like 20 seconds. If you blew this up with your breath, you're probably talking about 15 breaths. And that's incredible.
That's incredible.
This one is the king of the night all the time. It's the pastor taco.
Hit me.
Right, taco over.
He's carving.
The best of both worlds because it's crispy outside and then inside
Oh
it's
yeah, it's
like
the juice.
And you want to see the layers. When you're in a taqueria, you want to see your taquero making your food, you know, like it's kind of like important part.
It's like a piece of sushi. You hand it to you, you eat it. There's no need to go anywhere else. Pastor.
And every once in a while you'll be able to hear it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I shouldn't dress that up.
On the
Try
inside.
like that, actually.
Bro.
More pockets, more molly for attaching stuff. This is for, you know, squadron patches or
This is the one that I feel like doesn't need that whole
extra barrel
situation,
sleeve.
but
If you're carrying
That's
an
what
extra
tastes like
barrel,
crust.
it's got
This
a
place is
pocket for
fucking
soft
crack.
things here.
This is
one
meant
uses a pistol pocket,
to
but
bang out
used for other things as
and then
well.
ride out. Well,
Now,
that's the perfect experience right there. I'm gonna end it on that note right there. I don't want to taste another thing. That's crazy. I have a full day ahead of me and I feel great.
hi. You look so cool.
This is a modern Mexican restaurant in the heart of Queens.
We're in Richmond, Queens.
This is why we over here.
Oh shit.
The egg zones, the egg zones. This is where the egg zones first came around.
You guys still live in
Probably by a fucking wonderful woman that comes from LA, that came all the way over here with a dream. Well, you're from LA, so do you like the Mexican? Do you like the Mexican food here better?
Now I do. Are we gonna Lady and the Tramp or something? We'll save that for another episode.
That's why so many of the shooters.
There is a big difference between Mexican food in LA and Mexican food in New York. Mexican food in Los Angeles is a little more traditional, I would say. I feel like people here get a lot more creative with the ingredients that they use because of sourcing, obviously.
Of course they give you
That has a
With the
serious.
rice, yeah, this one has the inspiration was from Chinese Oaxacan cheese. These are actually breaded in cornflakes.
From beauty filters to
Okay, let's see what else we got.
like high
Sous Chef Kevin.
Hell yeah, let's go.
pushing the boundaries.
More with Asian pear, a little bit of tahini, and large lettuce. That's ridiculous.
This is a satanic, spiritual, which is the transdimensional invasion. Oh yeah, the UN didn't report that tens of thousands of kids of sex slavery and hate. Oh, and guess who was running it? The Clinton Foundation. And guess who set up the Clinton Foundation World Initiative? Not to be confused with their Library Foundation. They always try to confuse that. Snopes will go, Ghislaine Maxwell didn't start their Library Foundation. No. She's in the documents on record. Even before this came out, mainline documents, funding and starting the Clinton Global Initiative.
This nigga Jones,
It took the millions to Haiti and the thousands of kids. Oh, but Hillary put a statement out here. I forgot to send it to you guys. She put a text statement out that me and Bill had nothing to do with Epstein. I mean, sure, Bill went on some charity events with him into the island a few times, but that's it. That's it. Yeah, right, lady. Your first job as a lawyer, you're on tape bragging about it, was going and helping rich men. Then he grabbed a 10 or 11-year-old girl who interviewed her, broke her face in, smashed it in. She got scars all over her face. They smashed her face in, and then they raped her so hard with a broomstick that it just back there for about 2 days. Then they crushed her cervix in with a broomstick. Or she never had kids. Nice people, huh? Hillary said, yeah, I knew they were guilty, but it doesn't matter. I sure fooled that judge. She starts laughing. I'm going to file the tape. Yeah. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, methylene blue is incredible. And we have the very best you're going to find anywhere at theYellowShowStore.com. What it's done to my clarity, my focus has just been wild. My workouts have been so much better. We have the best, ultramethylene blue, at theYellowShowStore.com. Here's what some of the guests on the show experienced when they took it, and Joe Rogan and others talking about my transformation. Methylene blue has been a big part of it.
How is Alex doing? He's
great. He lost a lot of weight.
I saw he's getting he's ready for the next.
My friend
week.
Sean Johnson's training.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gets up every morning. He works out for fucking hours. I think he's lost 70 pounds at this point. He looks fantastic, man.
Yeah.
He looks fantastic. He looks like he's 20 years younger.
I saw Alex Jones, and he looks really good, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's losing all the weight. Taking back my health. You're so good. That's the only impression I could do.
Yeah, Alex looks good, man. He lost some weight. He looks good.
He looks great.
Yeah.
He works out every day. It's like no Ozempic, no bullshit, no shortcuts.
He's definitely one of my bucket list people to be at some point.
I can introduce you to Alex.
Yeah.
We can make that happen for sure.
It's so noticeable.
Yeah.
Like, wow, he looks handsome.
I text Alex all the time. I know him. He's just losing weight. But if you go online, there's a lot of people that believe that this is like a different person. He looks great. That's all it is. He looks great.
Here's your daily motivation. Alex Jones is 51 years old. He's been through more shit than you will ever go through. The deep state has come for his life. They have come for his business. They fined him billions of dollars for free speech. Alex Jones has had his rights stripped away. They've tried to take this man's life for speaking truth. Alex Jones went from looking like this to looking now like this. Alex Jones is getting ripped. Alex Jones is getting yoked, showing all of us that no matter our age, no matter what's thrown at us in life, no matter how many troubles or trials that we have, what really matters is who you are on the rock-ribbed inside. You have gunpowder in your gut, you have some grit in your teeth. Can you be a man in the face of all of it? Your promised struggles in this life, can you punch back? Alex Jones is a motivation and a vibe today.
I started having seizures like a few years ago, and everybody in my family knows I'm a neuroscientist.
What did you do to fix it?
Methylene blue.
I take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson was on here talking about it.
This stuff works, man.
I take it every day as well. And
yeah, RFK Jr. told me about it.
Yeah, man, it's fantastic.
What is Bobby Kennedy Jr. dropping into that glass of water?
Plenty of folks are wondering what was in that little bottle he uncorked during a flight.
Methylene blue.
Show her Kennedy taking it. Kennedy literally gobbles.
He must be doing something right. That ripped Bond is 73 years old.
You shouldn't have to tell a doctor about methylene blue. I think everybody should know about it. It's changed my life.
It kind of gives you like a boost of energy. It's not like an energy drink where you get the jitters or like you're just ready for the day and you're never going to sleep. It's more so like it clears the brain fog where you're actually, you know, able to focus more clearly.
You feel instant energy, but without the jitteriness of caffeine and focus. What I felt was focus, mental focus.
For me, it's like a fog lifted, but it was like a veil lifted off, you know? Incredible.
It's really interesting. I almost like feel smarter.
With methylene blue, I do notice that it does seem to give me more mental energy.
I knew what that did for me. I knew that it got me up and walking again, and I was having seizures without it. And let me tell you something, what a blessing.
It is a miracle. It's been proven for 100 years. And it's one of the most well-proven drugs out there. My kids take it, my wife takes it, everybody takes it.
What a blessing. I don't care what anybody says. I know what it's like with it, and I know what it's like without it.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. The Alex Jones Show, because there is a war on for your mind.
We never take the easy way. We take on the world. We take on the power of the world, Satan, because our God is greater than the ruler of this earth. And this is the great test that God put us here for. Crank it up. only way. All right, I'm going to table all the Satanism and the firestorm, and is it even too late for Trump to pull out of this? So sad. And where do we go from here? That's all coming with Kathy O'Brien. We'll open the phones up for her as well. So this 2 hours. And I'll continue on to the 4th hour with Matt Bracken and the geopolitical military developments, Iran strikes, and more. But I want to shift now to another arm of the whole pedo system. It's everywhere. Huge firestorm in the UK. Over Keir Starmer for 13 years, 15 years, as the head magistrate of the country over the Child Protective Services, literally allowing no prosecutions of Islamic giant pedophile rings that rape thousands of girls and kill many of them per town, tens of thousands per city. And now that there is a inquiry, private inquiry happening, they just destroyed the records starting yesterday. The government did. Unbelievable. See, it's the same octopus, folks. In fact, the UK and Europe, for my studies, is the mothership. But it goes on everywhere. Satan operates the same. I mean, Satanism, cannibalism in Africa, Latin America, Asia, it's everywhere. It is the religion of the predators. The opposite of doing to others as you have done unto you, or lay down your life for your brothers. The opposite of Jesus Christ. That's why Joe Rogan has accepted Jesus Christ now and understands good versus evil. I told you that a couple years ago. I was the first to break it, because Joe told me. And now he's public, professing Jesus Christ. Say we all need Jesus. Good is real, evil is real. You see. He was turned off by the mainline establishment religion, which is designed to turn you on. This is the Great Awakening, folks. But it's a spiritual battle. The political stuff is just a derivative of that, a side issue. It comes from that. But another thing I want to hit is the rise of the transgender death cult created by MI6, Tavistock Institute, CIA in the 70s and 80s, deployed to the schools, pushed with Bruce Jenner and all the rest of it. It's just, oh, be nice. It's like gay marriage. Just let two guys get married. Oh, okay, I'm not hateful. Oh, just let your kid be another sex. Oh, but the school's going to teach him that and take him away from you. It's all out of the Pritzkers. It's all out of their pedophile rings. It's coming out the Pritzkers with Epstein, of course. Because they can't normalize sex with kids. We'll normalize the state brainwashing and taking your kid and then cutting their genitals off or chemically castrating them. It's normalizing hell on earth. Euthanasia of the children in Canada and the Netherlands. State killing people without even their consent. That's beyond euthanasia. That's where we are. It's all around you. People say, who's the new Epstein? It's everywhere. They've gone from beta to externalization. And he's in emails 10 years ago, 15 years ago, to the heads of biology departments about how do we normalize transgenderism. It creates the perfect slaves. They'll accept two men can have a baby and there's no sex. They'll accept everything. That's what it's about. You'll accept men and women's bathrooms and dressing rooms. And men competing not as a girls' sports, but adult men in children's sports. In Canada, you will accept anything. In cults, they make you do ridiculous things. When I say jump, you say how high. When I say how many fingers am I holding up, you say, I don't know, tell me how many. You just see a blur. In 1984, Winston's being tortured by O'Brien. And he's been torturing for weeks. His teeth have all fallen out. He's like, listen, puts him on a rack, electrocutes him, puts cages with rats on his head. He says, in room 101, he says, I'll say any number you want. He goes, no, Winston. You'll know when you know. So finally he holds up 4 fingers, says, how many am I holding up? And he says, and then O'Brien says the number, which is a wrong number, and Winston sees that, sees the hand blur, and he believes it. He goes, now we've destroyed your soul. Now we've destroyed your free will. Now we're going to soon let you go and sit at the Chestnut Cafe and drink synthetic gin and watch the telescreens about all our wars. And then one day, you won't know when, we'll just come in and shoot you in the back of the head, and then you'll be put into a furnace, and your ashes pumped into the atmosphere, and no one will ever know you existed. Winston. It's about a victory against good, Winston. We want evil. We want to hurt you, Winston. We want to hurt humanity. We want to hurt decency. We want ugliness. trampling and being trampled upon. We are the priests of power. He was number 2 in the Sabian Socialist Society and number 1 at the BBC in propaganda. And until he got to that top, he thought they were trying to help people with communism, and they all sat around and laughed and said, we're Satanists. And he went, oh, really? And his family had lost its wealth by then, but they were before very rich, but were in the elite with Galton, Wedgwood, Huxley, and Darwin. Their grandfathers were in that class, just like the Trump admin, all the sons, you know, run all the big money operations, same thing, just handed down. So they're telling you. And Orwell wrote essays again saying, no, this is what I believe they're going to build and we don't stop them. And his cousin, Aldous Huxley, said no. Before he died in 1961, he said, George Orwell was wrong. We don't want to use the boots and SWAT teams. That's for the few people that resist us. We're going to drug people, dumb them down, put chemicals in the water that destroy the sexes, and dumb everybody down so much with entertainment that they're going to love their servitude. And that will be the model, he said, that will have done sometime, he thought, by 2020. That's always been their launch date, you know, for beta to operational. You can read his book, Brave New World Revisited. You can hear the Berkeley speech. It's really about 80 minutes long. Most versions are 60 minutes. Make sure you find the 81-minute version. And you're like, oh, who's he? Oh, just a top technocrat and part of a government breeding program who created advanced genius. And then his brother ran UNESCO, ran the UN, Julian Huxley. You might want to learn about these people. I have. That's how I know their moves, because I've read their playbook. And it's not just a big club and we ain't in it. When they're done, we'll be dead. But these mad scientists like Bill Gates are not all powerful. You hear about Bill Gates? His father, head of Planned Parenthood, head of the World Eugenics Society. When they changed the name, he'd also been co-chair with Julian Huxley of the World Eugenics Society. They changed the name after World War II to the World Transhumanist Society. His mother was an IBM executive. When Thomas Watson died, she was the chair of the board. IBM's sole purpose was to stop race mixing and create a master race of eugenics. So IBM was signed over to Bill Gates, but they had antitrust issues, so they acted like that IBM was in a fight with Microsoft. But they just so happened to give him the software licensing, and then he took over. Microsoft is a subsidiary of IBM to carry out world government and the murder of you and your family. So just learn about it. Hitler took orders from Thomas Watson throughout the war. In fact, Hitler wrote in documents that were later released that basically his boss was Thomas Watson. Hitler created a special award for Thomas Watson as the father of the Reich and as the supreme defender of the Reich. You might want to learn about that, you see, when you see Microsoft and IBM and all the nice little groups, so loving, liberal. So we have on a daily basis now, you know, up in Canada, a man who thinks he's a woman who's totally psychotic and demonic, constantly at the shooting range talking about killing people, goes and kills 10 people. The media tries to cover up that it's a man who thinks he's a woman. Out of a shooting at a Rhode Island ice rink, trans father who said he was a woman. Let's put some pictures of this guy up. Shoots 5 members of his family, including 3, killing 3, including himself. That took him, you know, overnight to admit that it was a man. And let's pull some photos of this freakazoid. He reminds me of that guy that attacks the shopkeeper saying, "It's ma'am," you know, the ex-convict. Hey, buddy. Hey, sir, what can I do for you? It's ma'am. And of course, got SS, lightning bolt runes, and Order of the Death set on the arm. It's about whatever's radical, whatever's evil. He was a big anti-Trumper, big, supporter saying Trump's running the Epstein cover-up. And it's been confirmed that I simply responded to folks pointing out how sick Congressman Tim McBride is, and simply said creepy. And Roberta, that's the killer of his own family, said, Alex Jones, shut the F up, Alex. Don't be so butthurt over somebody different, then wonder why trans people go effing berserk. It's a threat. But he couldn't organize himself, I guess, to come down here, and we're not a soft target, big man. So if you're looking for a place to get some holes in, you better bring some corks. But I've said, the only time I get attacked now is trans people. And if it's some guy that thinks he's a woman and is nice, I don't hate those people. If you're an adult, I don't hate you at all. I'm not judging you. But no, the goblin-like men that run around threatening everyone, use as an excuse to be a bully, they want to go in women's restrooms all day, just like Congressman Tim McBride constantly takes selfies in the women's bathrooms. Look, I'm not saying the guy is a pedophile. I'm just saying I was going to cast somebody to be a pedophile in a movie that drives around in ice cream trucks and kidnaps kids. I would cast Tim McBride, the congressman, for that. The creep monitor, if you like gaydar, well, I got pedo radar. And maybe my radar's off, but this is like, high level danger, danger, danger. But for speaking out against, just saying that McBride is creepy, well, I've been threatened, and it's interesting, it's been picked up on the news. Here is Fox News reporting on it, and here's local newscasts where they had to admit it is a man. Let's go to a few of those clips. Here it is.
He was defending trans Congresswoman Sarah McBride. He wrote this in part on X. Keep bashing us, but do not wonder why we go berserk. So they're looking into all of these things on social media. As investigators say, it was a targeted attack. That's one thing they know for sure. Sources telling Fox it was a dispute within this family that led to the tragedy. So the gunman shows up, kills his ex-wife and one of his own kids at the hockey game. Police say 3 others are in the hospital fighting for their lives. And there really could have been more people that were killed, but a good Samaritan stepped in and tried to take this gunman down. Watch.
So what I can say right now that we have identified the person, the suspect, by the birth name. The birth name was Robert Dorgan. We have also learned that the person does go by the name of Roberta, also uses the last name of Esposito. But again, that will be all confirmed throughout the course of the investigation as to their status. That really doesn't have anything to do with the investigation. 1969 is one.
Demented dad. So when these killers go and kill people on a daily basis, they're a demented dad. Otherwise, they're a woman. No, it's a big, fat, ugly dude with Nazi tattoos who went and slaughtered his family. Unfortunately, more have died now. And they're not going to be able to hide this extreme proclivity. There is the most dangerous group in FBI statistics by orders of magnitude is trans men to female, and they're not really female. That's what they call it. It's just off the charts. Almost every mass shooting is one of these guys now. The next most violent group is black males ages 14 to 25. The vast majority of blacks are not violent. Just like the vast majority of trans people aren't, but it doesn't matter. Statistically, they want to say it's white males commit the majority of crime. White males in a group commit the second lowest level of crime after Oriental Asians. And by that, they keep calling Pakistanis other Asians and Arabs Asians. They got pretty high crime rates. So Oriental Asians, like Chinese, South Koreans, Japanese, very low violent crime rate. So after those people, it's white females and white males. And I don't bring those numbers out. Everybody knows those numbers. To be mean to anybody, we're being told that white men are the scourge of the earth. And I guess it's true. Trans white men are the most statistically dangerous group. It's like pit bulls. Most people have them. They're really sweet, nice dogs. They're cute. But statistically, they have the highest level of, for no reason, going crazy and eating your child. Or just attacking you. I'm not against pit bulls. I'm just saying, we know the statistics. But you take people that are already mentally ill, autistic, you name it, or they're just criminals that when they're going to jail, they want to stay in a women's prison, or they want attention, they want to grift. There's a whole thing. And you fill them full of hate, and everybody's out to get you, and you're entitled, and you're allowed to do all this. You put them on SSRIs and hormone blockers and all this stuff, and you get some whacked out lunatics, ladies and gentlemen. And that's who they say killed Charlie Kirk. I got a lot of questions about Kirk, but they said he'll be dead tomorrow. A bunch of the trans people in that town, and then the man who says he's confessed to it, Tyler Robinson, shows up in trans flag, acting super creepy and evil. Doesn't look like the boy next door. But regardless, the shooter in Canada, this shooter, all the other shooters, trans. I'm just waiting for people to say, no, the Mossad did this too. So that's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. And we need to be aware of it. Now, when we come back, before Kathy O'Brien joins us, I'm going to air a John Bowne report. With the grooming gangs, the Islamic grooming gangs being protected by Keir Starmer for 15 years before he even got into Parliament, he's now the Prime Minister. I mean, this guy is up to his eyeballs in this. And again, it's rings running children. And then all in dozens and dozens, more than that, towns, the families are going to try to save their 10-year-old girls. They'd be beaten up. The police would come and arrest the dads. When cops decided to blow the whistle, they would be fired. When girls would run to the police station being raped, 10, 11 years old, they would be arrested for disorderly conduct. So that's how this works, ladies and gentlemen. And it's Keir Starmer that set all this up. So again, it's all about deviant, sick, evil people who want power over children, power over innocence, predators that get together, get into government, organize, and then have get-out-of-jail-free cards. That is what this is all about. And I have been 100% vindicated. The facts have been vindicated. Ted Gunderson has been vindicated. John DeCamp has been vindicated. Kathy O'Brien has been vindicated. We've all been vindicated. We were right. And everybody else attacking us was wrong. Megyn Kelly, who I don't want to hate, but my God, she just acts like she's one of us. She surfaced to say none of this is really happening. Just like Maria Baranovich, the big high priest, said, this doesn't exist, there isn't Satanism. Really? You read the emails? Read the crime reports? Oh, it's the satanic panic of the 80s, which was totally real? They tried to recruit me into it, for God's sakes. In Dallas, Texas. I don't need to read about it in a magazine or know it's true. I've been there. I've seen it. All right, we're going to break. We're coming back to Kathy O'Brien and more. Now, this is an emergency flash sale. It funds our operation, and these are incredible products. This is the biggest sale of the year right now at thealexjonesstore.com. Store-wide, all the supplements, all the apparel, the ball caps, the t-shirts, all of it, the hoodies, the sweaters, the incredible supplements, ultramethylene blue, our proprietary ultramethylene red, the Irish sea moss, the Shilajit, all of it. Until tomorrow at midnight. We extended it one day, store-wide, 52% off. So I'm saying this live on air on February 17th, Tuesday. Tomorrow, February 18th at midnight Central Time, the sale will end. Store-wide, 52% off. Ends tomorrow night at midnight. This is an alert. Your support keeps us on air. And I thank you so much, and I want to give back to you. For those on the fence, I want you to experience ultramethylene blue, ultramethylene red, the Shilajit, the Irish sea moss, our bovine colostrum. It's a private label, the top brand in the country, 2,000 milligrams per little scoop. So good for your skin, your hair, your eyes, your whole body. It's the first 2 weeks of milk that comes off a cow or any other mammal is incredible. And this is the final week. This only happens every few months. where you don't just, every time you make a purchase, get put in one time in the raffle for whatever cool American-made supercar they're having, off-road, Mustangs, you name it. You get put in 100x into the raffle, which they've never done before, in this week, and you get put in to win both vehicles, both the F-250 diesel and the Ford Mustang Shelby. That is a huge deal, and $20,000 cash. So take advantage of that right now at thealexjonestore.com. And listen, I don't own thealexjonestore.com. Bigley does, with all their great operations they do. So if they're able to shut down InfoWars, you read about the news, they're still trying. It doesn't matter because Bigley owns that, and they're our sponsor, and they built the Alex Jones Network backup studios and are helping build the new studios. I just work for them in the future. I don't yet, and so they can't stop me. They'll be the owner, I'll be the news director. So you're not just funding the current operation, because they're funding InfoWars as well, like 9% of the funding. They're also funding the future. So go to thealexjonestore.com now and take advantage of the biggest sale of the year, 52% off for wide, and everybody buying anything should commit in the lightest, easiest way. Become a VIP for $30 a month with one click. You instantly get $40 to spend in the store, special deals, special offers, discount sales on top of other sales on top of everything. If you're going to buy anything, you should be a VIP. The reason I say it's a very light commitment, you can cancel any time for free with one click. Just for whatever day of the month you sign up as a VIP, it rolls around every month and charges you $30. You don't like it for whatever reason, you get your $40, you spend it, you get your discounts, all that, then don't have any money at the time, whatever, you just cancel. So if you're going to buy anything, you should be a VIP because you get $40 instantly to spend in the store. You make $10, and it lowers the cost of everything you just bought on top of the sale. If you're a VIP, at 50% off, some of these products are lost leaders, meaning we're losing money. But because we have I didn't understand this. We have a repeat sale on the store of 98%. No one has that. On the supplements, over 80% reorder individually. That's how good these are. So take advantage now. You have less than 48 hours. So tomorrow night at midnight. You have until tomorrow night at midnight. 50% off. We'll be right back with hour number 2 stimulants. We sell the best supplements, the widest selection of Patriot apparel, and knives at thealexjonestore.com. And it had some awesome daggers and awesome trench knives. That's all great. But I said, I want a wide selection of high quality folding knives, flip knives, you name it. So people have a one-stop shop. They got in a few thousand knives a few months ago. They sold out very quickly. 4 or 5 great designs. They got a bigger shipment in just the last few days. Our sponsor, just really top flight knives. These knives, this knife right here you see in the green, finest quality, massive steel, all of it. These sell in stores for $75 all day. We're selling for $40 or $7. Okay? So look at that flip. Flips right out. Got a nice little, Mustang on it, real small, nice little memento you support the broadcast. That is a really nice knife. It clips on your belt buckles. We have it in the green. We have it in the murdered out black. We have it also in silver without it being blacked out. Those are great knives. Those are the new designs. Now, there's 200 left of the Skull Crusher World War II trench knife with the Spartan tip of the spear. So they held those back. Those are available. A little bit left they held back in their overstock of the Fire with Its Beauty. But this is a really cool knife. Alex Jones Phantom folding knife. Limited stock of that came back in. Also the Alex Jones Burnt Orange folding knife. And this is the knife that sold out, the quickest fitting knife. They got 500 of these. 1,000 now just came in. The first one sold out like in hours. Alex Jones Ring Blade. Yes, those are popular. This is something I didn't really call for, but it's awesome. Got that ring on the back, got the deal. It's really nice. Those are all back in stock right now at thealexjonestore.com. While you're at it, get methylene blue, IRC, moss, and more. And check out the Patriot apparel, thealexjonestore.com. break massively important news on Zorro Ranch and more that's coming out. Underground bases, you name it, with Kathy O'Brien. This is all coming out in the next 2 hours with her. In the second hour, I'll open the phones up for your questions for Kathy O'Brien and your statement about all this coming out. It's all coming out, but let's look at the pedo rings, particularly by Kira Starmer with the Islamics over in the UK.
There to have been upwards of 250,000 young white girls raped in this century, very largely by Muslim men.
In 2008, an 11-year-old girl came to the attention of the police after she disclosed that she and another child had been sexually abused by a group of adult males. Just a few weeks later, she was found in a derelict house with another child and a number of adult males. Yet she was arrested, 11 years of age, she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, and none of the males were arrested. Has your force identified the police officers involved in that and found out what went on?
I don't know.
The veil is lifting on the UK's festering underbelly of nauseating cover-ups, where Labour MPs under Keir Starmer's iron grip just slammed the door on justice for victims of Muslim grooming gangs.
The eyes to the right were 111, the nose to the left 364, so the noes have it, the noes have it. Unlock.
But Labour crushed it, 364 to 111. Back in January 2025, the Tories pushed an amendment to the Children's Wellbeing Bill, demanding a national inquiry into the predatory networks that have ravaged thousands of young, mostly white and working-class British girls, while whispers of Islamophobia fears and political correctness shielded the perpetrators.
But I want to give a special thanks to the APPG on British Muslims for the brilliant work that you do to highlight issues affecting British Muslims and celebrate their achievements. As leader of the Labour Party, I am utterly committed to eradicating Islamophobia from my party and from society.
And let's not forget Starmer's own skeletons as Director of Public Prosecutions in 2009. His CPS refused to prosecute serial pedophile Jimmy Savile despite credible allegations, citing insufficient evidence. Hundreds more victims suffered while the elite protected their own.
How did you get it out?
I can get anything. There's nothing I can't get. And there's nothing I can't do.
We should accept that pedophilia is a sexual preference, a thought, a feeling, and not an act. We should differentiate between child sexual abuse and pedophilia.
The stats paint a horrifying picture of a nation in denial, with police recording 71,227 rapes in 2024 alone, yet charges brought in a pathetic 2.7% of cases, leaving over 97% of predators walking free. By the year ending in March 2025, sexual offenses spiked to 209,079, a brutal 11% jump from the prior year.
And nothing has shaped my thinking more than our crowd-funded independent inquiry into the Pakistani Muslim rape gangs. An inquiry that should never have had to exist. An inquiry that I created only because the political system itself would not act. That inquiry has been the most sobering experience of my public life. Not just because of the awful crimes, not just because of the horrific suffering, but because of what it exposed about the way this country is governed.
Now zoom out to Scandinavia, where the same multicultural madness has turned safe havens into rape hotspots. Sweden tops the charts at 84.4 reported rapes per 100,000 people, followed by Norway at 42.39.9. With studies showing 92% of severe rapes in Sweden linked to foreign-born offenders. Yet convictions remain abysmally low. Just 6% in Sweden prosecute adult cases. Scandinavia's unchecked borders and elite denial breed predators, turning progressive paradises into hellscapes for women and girls, while real men appear to be non-existent. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
I am making this historic announcement on Friday, December 12th, 2025. The future of InfoWars hangs in the balance. It is in your hands. They're having a state auction in January next year in about a month. But we don't even have the money for payroll or for satellites or for bandwidth. We've got this next shot to survive, but if we don't get the funds in, we shut down. So we're selling 3 emergency limited edition posters at InfoWarsStore.com right now that are critical to us staying on the air. I want to encourage you to go now to get I Have Not Yet Begun to Fight John Paul Jones poster and 2 others, Make No Peace with Evil and Defend the West, iconic crusades. Go now to InfoWarsStore.com to get 1 or more of these iconic posters, limited edition. We cannot do it without you. I have fired the bat signal. Take action now if you want to stand with us in this fight at InfoWarsStore.com, and I salute you for your support.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones coming to you live from the front lines of the InfoWar.
To say that the Great Awakening has gone into warp speed is an understatement. Everything that Kathy O'Brien talked about 30 plus years ago and detailed and predicted has now come to pass. Everything Ted Gunderson exposed, everything that the hero CIA agent officer that helped save Kathy O'Brien talked about has been totally proven. And before she came on, I didn't ask her to do this, but maybe during the next break she can pull her book out. I had a copy around here, but it tends to disappear. People want to read it. But I've read the book like 5 times, Transformation of America. It's one of those evergreen books that gets stronger over time. And the book is how they're planning to beta test it with the Satanism feeding into the CIA and MI6 groups, and then to externalize it out to everyone and turn us all into satanic predators. And that's how the book ends. I've probably read it in 10 years. But I was looking around earlier for the copy of the bookshelf. It's not out there. Or maybe I missed it. Go check again. So I have a copy here that's all bookmarked, actually. Yeah. And again, I'm not mad at the crew. People want to read that stuff, so they walk off with it. But whoever's got it at home, bring it back, okay? So well, I need to buy a few more, obviously, on their site. I mean, this is like revelation. I mean, that's what it is, because she went through it. And so I couldn't think of somebody better to join us to give her personal take on what's coming out, but also Trump. Because you have the victims saying, no, never saw Trump involved. I already know the groups, organizations, no Trump's, that's not his MO. My job's not to defend Trump. Then to have the DOJ slow roll this, say they released it all in March, didn't. They said over the weekend they had sent a letter to Congress, put out some new stuff, lied. I even bought it. That's rare because the lie was so bold. And then Trump saying it'll hurt the country if this all comes out. Well, no, what'll hurt the country is these satanic networks. And now the cannibalism, the Satanism, the torture of babies, the human cloning. Now they've confirmed the Zorro Ranch does have underground bases, as was said. It was never raided. New York was, the island was, all that. It's 50 times bigger or more. I mean, 100 times. It's 10,000 acres. But we've had Air Force experts. We looked at it. You look at the Google Maps. We've also flown over now. You can see the huge snorkels that are sticking up that you have for underground bases all over the property, just as witnesses and victims said. And then we've got emails of them talking about buying babies and sending sex slaves to the Hyatt Hotel and all this. And then they've got FBI reports where they're like, oh yeah, this little girl said they did this 10 years ago. You know, now she's 20, she was 10 at the time. And her report matches this video we have, but they blacked out the video of the photo. And it's them doing unspeakable things to the little girl. This is a family show, but this is also needs to be known. And just, this is one case, there's thousands that I've already seen. A whole bunch of men that she's bloody, her face beat in, bleeding all over her body. And in the photo that they blacked out, the man has forced his arm all the way into her. It's not clear into what, and she has got her tongue sticking out in pain. This is what we're talking about. I don't like to cover this, but people need to understand. Now, Kathy O'Brien, Gunderson said was 100% dead on. And it matched all the stuff we knew from the history. But then everything else that came out that she predicted is incredible. And it is a testament to the power of God that, because I knew her 30 years ago, and she had that 1,000-yard stare and really didn't talk much. You know, the times I was around her at the events we were at, very nice lady, but you could tell she was like, and I would be too. Over the years, I've seen her not just come back, but just so well-spoken, glowing, you know, so healed, you could say. And that's her own words. I'm putting words in her mouth, and I totally agree with her. So I just knowing this has traumatized me. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, I got $3. I mean, I couldn't imagine them going through 1% of this. So, and again, her father is Satanist in a satanic group. Then bringing her to the, you know, to the CIA and to be the personal servant of Gerald Ford, who we know is connected to all this. And then she gets the higher training, the programming, and that's in these emails where, yeah, we sent out the sex slave, the little girl, she got the intel, she misbehaved a little bit, so I tortured her. When you compartmentalize people, they get photographic memories. This is all declassified, by the way, MK Ultra. So, Kathy O'Brien joins us, and I want her to go wherever she wants, trance-formation.com. During the break, she's got the book. I've read it many times. I want her to pull it up, maybe read later, maybe next hour. Because it's like you're reading it, and it's just like, oh my God, this is exactly what happened. This is incredible. Because she's around these people while they're talking about it. And you've got the ex-wife of Sergey Brin saying, oh yeah, they collapsed everything on purpose to enslave us with COVID, and they're taking over, so I left him. I mean, we have the witnesses to this stuff. And Sergey Brin and Larry Page of Google telling Elon 20 years ago, oh, we don't like humans, we're going to get rid of everybody. I mean, this is the attitude of these people to do these things. They have these attitudes. They have tests to recruit people that will be psychotic or at least sociopathic like them. This is an initiation. So I want to play a short clip of Trump here, where he talks about, well, I'm not in it, so we need to move on, because they're trying to make it about him. No, this is about the victims, and it's about you weren't involved, but now by extension you are, and whether I can look at devil's advocate or whatever, it doesn't matter. This is causing an exodus, and the Democrats, who are the ones in all the files, are laughing. And I know, Kathy, you've been a supporter of Trump like I am as well. We've seen they found half the missing kids the Democrats brought in. They shut down the smuggling. They're stopping the transgender stuff. They're stopping the wars. It's great, but it still doesn't matter. I don't believe lesser of evil is what your take on it, but here's Trump. I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. Yeah, we know that, but it doesn't matter. Your DOJ's covered it up. Here's a clip. We'll get Kathy O'Brien's take on that.
So Hillary Clinton said in an interview today that she and her husband are getting pulled into the Epstein matter to divert attention from you, and that your administration has something to hide. What's your response to that?
I have nothing to hide. I've been exonerated. I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. They went in hoping that they'd find it and found just the opposite. I've been totally exonerated. In fact, Jeffrey Epstein was fighting that I don't get elected with some author, the sleazebag, by the way. And I've been totally exonerated. No, they're getting pulled in, and that's their problem. I don't know, they're going to have to see what happens. But I watched her in Munich, and she seriously has Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, there's not one email of Trump or his family in there. Michael Wolfe's talking about it, and there's the third most mentioned, thousands. They're in there saying, yeah, Trump's innocent, how do we set him up? Epstein, no, he never was with the girls. It doesn't matter, Trump, it's not about you, it's about your DOJ covering up 98% of the files. That's my view. Kathy O'Brien, survivor, overcomer, God bless you so much, and your faith in Christ and everything that's happened. You're such a story of just defeating evil. And so we salute you. Where do you want to start here?
Well, thank you for having me on. And with all the truth that is coming out, whether this DOJ can do anything about it or not, the fact is the truth is coming out because the people want it. And they're sharing it with each other. So that's the most encouraging thing to me. People are saying, well, all this Epstein information coming out, you must feel vindicated. And it's like, no, not really, because I already knew my own truth. I already knew what the plan was, and I just wish that people had listened to Transformation of America, read the information back in 1995 when it was released, so that time didn't have to prove it. How many lives have been lost? How many children trafficked and harvested in that process? How much longer are the Clintons going to go free for their crimes against humanity? It's got to stop. We the people, especially the survivors and the victims, have got to see some justice, and it's really going to be up to all of us. After 35 years of realizing that I'm not going to see conventional justice because national security was invoked on my case, I have learned that the ultimate justice is positive change through public awareness, and it's up to all of us. President Trump told us that he's returning power to we the people. He has. We are in power. It's up to us. The system is too corrupt. We have all the evidence. We have all the proof that anybody could ever need, and we've had it for years. We do not have a justice system to prosecute it through. And the children cannot wait for the system to clean up. They need us to wake up, share the truth with each other, embrace that reality, and know that we can all deal with this situation when we remember who we are, why we're here, align with the divine within, gather that strength of the human spirit and infinite power of love, where we naturally unite to protect our children. It's time. We've been waiting a long time for this, Alex, and it's good to see that people are finally embracing the truth and starting to wake up and take action.
That is so profound, and you just hit the nail on the head. People tend to look at this as this or that. And yeah, we want all the files released, and it's sad to see the Trump admin, getting involved at some levels in a cover-up, but regardless, the 3 million emails, everything else started to come out, is so damning. Thousands of emails, delivering the kids, delivering the sex slaves, eating the children. They don't even hide it, okay?
No.
This is devastating. So I've said to Massey and others on there, and so is MTG, I think she's coming on next week, okay, well, all these good Congress people, they have access to the unredacted names. Don't just keep bitching at Trump. Spend 10% of your time saying release more, but with what you've got, this is coffin nails these people, and whoever's in there, go redacted. And we've got Congressman Mace saying, no, they're now being sent by the DOJ, all the stuff unredacted. So in a way, it was true what Mondi said Saturday. They said, we're unredacting everything, and we released the files. I thought they meant like to the public. It was to Congress. Then I jumped the gun and said, okay, they're lying. They said they released it. They didn't. No, they did. But they said all of it. No, there's 3 million more emails and all the other stuff. So it's a mess. The point is, you're right. We have 3 million documents. We have 180,000 photos and videos. And they're now public, folks. There was an error on the website where you have to put another code behind it, but you can find it all now. And let me tell you, I've looked at it, and only a little bit of it, and each thing is just, they'll give you nightmares, but we have to face this collectively. We have to do it. But you're right. We have to keep still putting pressure on Trump, but look at ourselves in the mirror. We now have the absolute mother load of proof against these people, and it's everything you talked about. Now, it's in the book. Gunderson used to tell me stuff, not on air. It was too extreme to say. But I remember Gunderson saying, no, they starve babies so that they can then make them perform fellatio. That's one of their, and then that's Epstein is in there. Now they played recordings of the mother so they suck harder. And I know it sounds evil just to even say this, but people need to know. And I know you don't like to talk about the satanic ritual abuse you went through to prime you for the CIA. But I think it's important. I mean, the stuff that's been described that I was told you told Gunderson, and when I talked to your partner that saved you, I was told off record some of it because you guys thought it was too extreme to talk about. Well, the point is, when you're reading these emails, when you're seeing this, is this deja vu for you?
It's not that it's deja vu. It's just the confirmation of the reality that this has been going on my whole life.
But this is exactly what I was told was going on by you and others.
Yeah, it's essential that people understand our children are not only being raped, they're not only being trafficked, they're being harvested, and they have been for a long time. Because the satanic ritual abuse that I experienced for MK Ultra mind control is all well documented and proven, and the Clintons' involvement in it is extensive. The MK Ultra files have been declassified now. They have been for over a year. They were declassified in December, over a year ago. All that information is right there for anybody to research and see and validate everything that's starting to come out now with the Epstein files. And it's important that we understand how mind control factors into all of this, because mind control is a sliding scale from the kind of torturous, robotic, MK Ultra mind control that I experienced on a White House Pentagon level, being programmed at various DARPA, NASA, and military installations by satanic Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, founder of the occult temple of Set, proliferating on military bases that has reached into our society on so many different levels. The satanic aspect is used as a trauma base. When we understand the components of mind control, whether it's of an individual, a nation, a classroom, a military, or the world, trauma is the basis of it. And it was found through Hitler-Himmler research. There's no trauma more horrific on the human mind than sexual abuse of a child prior to age 5 while the brain is still forming. When we understand how our brains respond to that kind of trauma, then we'll understand that the pedophile agenda is a mind control agenda.
And by the way, let me back you up. There are thousands of emails, literally, and I've read, and we've showed a bunch of them. It's insane. Where MC's talking to behavioral psychologists, all these people about traumatizing children and others to create basically the X-Man effect. And for those that don't know, that's declassified MK Ultra. By torturing children, it compartmentalizes them, and then they're able in certain compartments to find photographic memories, you name it, and then it creates these little super agent servants, not just for sex, but spying on people, that the child can come back and report back an entire dinner meeting, word for word, what was said. That's what you wrote about in your book. You were trained for that, correct? I mean, you were sent out as an agent, as an operative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I worked on the White House Pentagon level throughout my victimization. The satanic aspect in the Hitler-Himmler research, that is the second most horrific trauma on the human mind, because it violates everything sacred within us, and it violates our capacity to understand that we have all the power, and they only have as much power as we give them or let them steal. It makes us feel like it's beyond our realm to affect, when in fact it is. We've got this saving grace. We've got the victory within us all, and we need to remember all that. But the information on our own mind-brain function that is our defense against mind control, that details what happens in the human mind to create a heightened suggestibility, a compliant society when sexual abuse of children is allowed to proliferate to this extent. When we understand all that was buried under national security, when we imported the Nazi and fascist scientists into the U.S. with Project Paperclip, with them came that formula for mind control, and right thereafter, the 1947 National Security Act went into place to cover up information on our mind-brain function, because knowledge is our defense against mind control. They don't want us to have our own birthright knowledge. They don't want us
certainly to know knowing of the enemy and his plan, then you have to resistance. And instead, it makes you even stronger once you're aware of it. To be clear, you're right. They took the Nazi, they called it Mind War program. They thought it was the best and used it. But under British intelligence, going back to the 1850s, they developed what they called Mind War. The Nazis kind of copied it, where they found similar systems, but not as good as the Nazis. And that's why Sigmund Freud and his nephew, Edward Bernays and others, they were heavily pushing pedophilia publicly and mind control as well, but through more of a group brainwashing.
Yeah, Mind War, that is also the book that Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino wrote. And it is the psychological warfare on humanity that's unfolding today. It's the satanic ritual abuse. It's the sexual abuse and harvesting of our children. It's the trauma that's affecting the whole nation while this continues to go forward with no justice. So that is being further traumatic in itself. But Michael Aquino wrote that book with General Bailey, who is on the board of directors of Turning Point USA. So we're seeing infiltration, we're seeing far-reaching effects, and we all need to wake up and start facing the facts of what mind control is all about, what the mind war, psychological warfare, the trauma that we're all experiencing is all about. And when we have that knowledge, that's our defense against mind control, then we evolve with that knowledge and we don't comply with it anymore. Then we take back our own power. Then we realize it is up to us. It's up to, it always has been. Each and every one of us, each and every individual needs to reclaim their free thought, free will, soul expression, so they can gather that strength of human spirit and the infinite power of love. Because in that regard, the mind control that's being used is a spiritual battle. It's a spiritual warfare on all of us, because they're using mind control to keep us from going within and realizing that we have that strength of the human spirit to remember who we are and why we're here. And that's the plan, and that's why they're using
Absolutely. Just to be
mind
clear,
control.
You as a child in ongoing, you were part of satanic rituals where children were killed.
Yes.
It's important for the record. I know it's hard for you to talk about, but people need to know. Can you just briefly, like, your earliest memories or what you saw?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that not only that, but I think it's important to know that the Satanism was infiltrated by the CIA for the purposes not only of using it as a trauma base, but also for harvesting the tortured blood of the victims, particularly children. And that was the precursor to adrenochrome. The fact that Satanists drank blood was the precursor to it. And Hillary Clinton was actively involved in 1977, that I know of, in the trafficking of that adrenalized blood. And that is the kind of murder that I witnessed, so that was put into what Bill Clinton had already established as the CIA's cocaine operation, the MENA cocaine operation. She was using the satanic blood aspect, so she was involved in human trafficking, child sex trafficking, but above all, child harvesting for the adrenochrome all the way back in 1977. The horrors that I have seen are unconscionable. They're inexcusable.
Were you told about people you worked with under the operation, or did you ever see Hillary engage in any of this?
Yeah, I was exposed to Hillary in the 70s, in the late 70s, and throughout my MK Ultra victimization.
Wow, if you don't mind, please tell us that, because I remember when Tex Mars had this huge library. Well, this was pre-internet. He showed me all these news clippings, like AP, about one time Al Gore gets off an airplane and a small refrigerator falls and busts open full of bags of blood. And there are other witnesses that he literally doesn't just do IVs, he drinks it. That's been in the news. I mean, Thomson Reuters, you probably find it with a LexisNexis search. Kathy O'Brien is our guest. Stay with us. I'm going to be very clear about this. I've done an hour and a half of live broadcasts and have not plugged one time. You're not going to get economic, cultural, military, spiritual analysis like this anywhere else. It's not a power trip. I've been blessed by God with the best crew, the best guests, the best intel, but it's up to you to boost this information. All I ask is that you share the live feeds, you share the articles. We get shut down early next month, which is, I haven't made the announcement yet, but this is it. God keeps coming through with miracles, but it just looks like it. You'll see major movement soon. I'll just stop there. It's okay. But I'm asking all of you that have been on the fence, you share articles, videos, wonderful, keep doing it. I thank you, humbly. I'm not mad, you never supported us financially, but the products are great. I'm asking everyone to do one thing. Go to thealexshowstore.com today, and one click become a VIP for $30 a month. Now, you instantly get $40 to spend in the store, special deals, special offers, everything. It's a discount when you do that. It's just like Amazon Prime. But let's just say you don't want ultramethylene blue or Shilajit or Irish sea moss or bovine colostrum that's so incredible. Not a sexy name, but sexy results. Maybe you don't want to get any of the great Patriot t-shirts. Just be a VIP every month. A donation of $30 to our sponsor, Big Lady, that owns the Alex Jones Backup Network and the site. There's all sorts of behind the scenes attacking them. They're big boys too. You know, Nate was pardoned by the president trying to save a woman on J6. We did save her. But I mean, these are Patriots. Just go to the site, upper right-hand corner, VIP Club. Just commit. You can cancel any time, so it's not much of a commitment. But each month you charge $30 on the first day of the month. Just be a VIP. Pledge to us $30 a month. You've got NPR and PBS getting billions of dollars a year from the feds and then begging constantly for your money to shovel communism and pedophilic garbage on you. We just sell you the very best supplements you've ever seen, the widest selection of picture kernel badass knives, and we're swinging for the fences. I'm totally committed. I've given up 95% of my assets, which weren't ever that big. I could care less. Actually, I'm actually happier. I don't have a few things to deal with. But the point is that we're now up against the wall. So I need you to simply become a VIP. And then you got a bad month, whatever the issue is, cancel. And then you get more money in a few months. You'll say you're like blue collar, whatever, hard-working person, totally respectable, the bedrock of this country, $30 a month, you get a little bit of problem. Cancel. It's free. And then a few months later, things are going well again, become a VIP again. But for all you middle-class people and all you wealthy people that aren't investing in the fight against the tyrants, you are crazy. All of you that have needs should be a VIP at thealexjonesstore.com. It's just a $30 donation. If you don't want to spend the $40 you get to buy great products and just want to let it, you can be a member, just pile up $40 each month. And at the end of the year, what's 12 months? You know, you spent X and then gotten way more in and then, you know, do all your Christmas shopping. I don't care how you do it. I'm just saying, become a VIP. One click. Hit one button. I'm an attack dog, folks. I'm born for this. I'm bred for this. I love this. I'm fearless, other than failure. I have no fear. All I'm saying is, please become a VIP right now at thealexjonesstore.com. That's the simple commitment. VIP. 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 And that's the term they use for it. I would call it Paul Revere Fund. I would call it tip of the spear. There's nowhere you can support where you're getting bigger results against the enemy. Bang for the buck. It's just true. I'm not bragging. I'm very humble. I am your weapon. I am committed to you like a dog is to its owner. I mean, it's true. I am your servant. I am here to defend you and defend your family and defend your freedom because I'm defending mine as well and we're all this together. You understand? I am so committed to you at the very base of my soul. And I just simply want to see you awaken in the info war. And there's nowhere better with one simple move than being a VIP at thealexjonesstore.com.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want to stop tyranny? Well, so does he. Live from the Infowars.com studios, it's Alex Jones.
Now, I'm not going to recap all my intel on Hillary that's public, but she was the head person against Nixon. Again, connected to David Rockefeller, just like Epstein. She then, when her first job as a lawyer, was sent to Hot Springs to cover up the mafia that was based there out of Chicago, raping kids. In one case, an 11-year-old girl grabbed her off the bicycle, raped her, destroyed her cervix with a broomstick, and then there's audio of her bragging that she knew that they raped her, but she got them off. Day one, and of course her dad was the number 2 to Daley in the mafia in Chicago. And so this is a monster of monsters. And then the clip can never be found because it's pre-internet, like video clips. It was like, I don't know, like 1993. Bill Clinton had just been elected. And David Rockefeller was at the White House visiting. And this is an exact quote. And somebody out there could probably find this, or you can go to a TV archive place and buy it. We should. He goes, back when I was in high school, going to that private school, David Rockefeller came to visit, and he pulled me aside and said I could be president one day, and I started working with him. And I just want to say there were only two people thought I'd ever be president. That was my mama and David Rockefeller. So thank you, David Rockefeller. Now that's an exact quote. The fact that he worked for Rockefeller is on record, but you now know Epstein was brought to the Trial Commission to serve under Rockefeller, the head of it, and when Rockefeller couldn't be there, he'd send Epstein. So David Rockefeller is right at the center of this. So let's go there. I mean, I remember you 30 years ago were naming names going through it. Who are the world leaders you were working for? You know, the Pentagon as a very young girl. You go out of the Satanism as the feeder group into the MK Ultra. How much that you remember? Then the programming that you're going around, you were saying you directly saw Hillary Clinton involved. Because now we have these thousands of emails about all the jerky, and the jerky's being delivered, and we're isolating it, and it's in the freezer, and we're sending it to labs, and man, we're going to get off this jerky diet. It's all we've been eating. And then we have Woody Allen and all of them talking about, no, these are kids. They're eating flesh. They're grinding up the bones for roughage or for fiber in the guts. I mean, this is hell world. It's not even coded. They're like one piece of pizza for 7 people. It's glowing. It loves it. You're going to really enjoy it. The Podesta emails, WikiLeaks. We're living the 7, 9, and 11-year-old to the hot tub for your pleasure, for your entertainment. And the Aleister Crowley stuff, I mean, it's just unspeakable. So it's important this on record, okay? Because I know you talked about this decades ago, but if you can, specifically, you're talking about Hillary Clinton. I know there's a lot you can say, but who do you want to get on record here of what you witnessed and who was involved? Thank you, Kathy O'Brien.
The Clinton Chronicles had told a story about the 2 boys murdered on the railroad track. You might remember that back in the day, Alex. And Wayne Cox, my handler at the time, was involved in that. He was working the CIA cocaine operations for Bill Clinton and had a called Satanic Coven with Roger Clinton, which was Bill Clinton's half-brother. And they were the ones who were working that those operations when the kids were killed on the railroad track. That's their MO. That was part of it all. And no matter how many times the information starts to come out, it gets covered right back up. But Roger Clinton was heavily involved in the satanic aspect and the precursor to the adrenochrome right there with Wayne Cox, running it for Hillary Clinton because that was her faction of it. So all that was going on. This was back when Bill Clinton was Attorney General of Arkansas, before he was even governor, before he was president. And this goes back that far. These roots of corruption are so deep that we've got to understand how deep they go in order to effectively uproot them all. As soon as a little bit of truth comes out, you know, we got the Epstein files released. What do we get? Alex, were you predicting it? A shooter. Of course, we have to have a trans shooter, another one. And that trauma will just be all over the news to divert people away from the information that was coming out. We need to get the information out and then go to the deep roots of it all.
I agree. What do you make of the trans shooter confirmed threatening basically my life the day before he did this?
Well, the trans shooters are, you know, it was decided back at Bohemian Grove, the old Bohemian Grove days. George Bush was talking about how if they lost control over the population, that with mind control, then they would reduce our numbers to a much more manageable size. So the shooters are part of that.
By the way, you wrote that 20 years before Zbigniew Brzezinski to the Canadian CFR said the same thing. He said we can no longer, quote, we can no longer manage people with propaganda, we just have to kill everybody.
Yeah, and he said if that doesn't work, that they'll destroy the planet. We're watching so much of that happen in real time right now. And this has been, I've had this information released since 1995, so I'm hoping that more and more of it will come to light so that we realize that this plan does not need to unfold. It's already not unfolding the way they want it to. They're getting frantic. The transgender movement is a pedophile agenda with the depopulation agenda attached to it. look back on Gerald Ford's cabinet and who he had in it and what he was doing. Gerald Ford had Henry Kissinger in his cabinet, and they wrote the first depopulation agenda. That's public record. Anybody can research that for themselves and see that. We'll see how much of the corruption was rooted all the way back then. He had Rockefeller as his vice president. He had Dick Cheney in his cabinet. Dick Cheney is one of the most violent, horrific abusers that's ever been. Just horrible. George Bush Sr.
Well, for those
was
who
the
don't
most
know, why don't you
powerful-
spend a little time on what you personally know about Cheney that's been confirmed by others? He likes to beat people to death, pretty much.
Dick Cheney?
Yes.
He's absolutely brutal, and he uses the most dangerous game of human hunting. I was hunted by him when I was 17. That was the first time in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, at his place there, and hunted numerous times after that. Most dangerous game is a trauma base for mind control, especially on a high level.
By the way,
Because
that's
they're
now
trying to
coming out of
create-
these documents and others by elites literally hunting people at places like that.
Absolutely, and it's to create a sense that there's no place to run and no place to hide. Since many do die, many are killed, that you never know if you're going to survive it or not. So you do everything you're told as though your life depends on it, because it does. That's the programming. And Dick Cheney was very much a part of all that. And these deep roots of corruption are something that we need to realize have been a strong basis of mind control, not only for individuals like me, but for our nation as a whole. Because Gerald Ford's the one who covered up the Kennedy assassination. That's when these perpetrators, this globalist agenda, this dark negative energy force that's raping our children and using drug and human trafficking across open borders to fund their agenda. That's when they took over. And it was a horrific trauma to the whole nation. Again, trauma is a basis of mind control, and that trauma traumatized the nation, and it's when they took over. Anyone questioning the one bullet theory was called a conspiracy theorist. They were shamed for questioning the repetitive media narrative. Look in Gerald Ford's cabinet again, and he had Jack Valenti, head of the Motion Picture Association of America, as his press secretary. Jack Valenti is the one who gave us the term conspiracy theory of anyone questioning the media narrative, because he controlled the media narrative. He had a very high position of power over everything that was emanating out of Hollywood, and we know what a pit of...
Kathy O'Brien's our guest. This history is important. I want you wherever you want, but I want to speak what you're saying. I totally agree with you. The Great Awakening's here. They're in panic mode. They admit it even at their Munich conference, CFR meetings, trilateral meetings, WF meetings, and I hear from high-level sources, and I've met off-record with some of the top people who aren't implicated in this, but are very famous, very well known, and a lot of them have obviously broken with them publicly, had Elon Musk on things, I'll leave it at that. He definitely knows about this, is fighting it. So this is all being basically separated out right now. How would you describe where the globalists are, where the satanic network is right now, and what do you think they're going to do to strike back?
They've lost control. We've already passed critical mass. We passed critical mass 2016, when so many people were awake and aware that the sheer numbers of us overrode the rigged electronic algorithm, the voting machines, to elect a president that was not Hillary Clinton and the New World Order. People knew better all the way back in 2016, and the numbers have grown dramatically since then. Those electronic voting machines have been rigged since their inception to place key people in positions of power and influence who were part of the globalist agenda. They went into place in the wake of the Kennedy assassination. George Bush and Dick Cheney owned Diebold. They had huge stock in Diebold, the original electronic voting machines. We need to look back on all that and realize that they're playing the same game. The thing is, so many people are awake and aware of it now that they're losing their grip. They're in the last the last-ditch efforts now. They went all in 2020 with mind control masked as a virus on the whole global population. And all it ended up ultimately doing is waking up people more, because everyone got a taste of mind control and realized that they had complied against their will with an adverse agenda and are seeing the horrific
And they
effects of it.
declassified that MI6, CIA, all of them work together to, quote, terrorize the public. It's declassified. And as you said in your book 31 years ago, if they start losing, they will depopulate us, meaning a virus. My concern is that COVID was a beta test. Now that they're so cornered, I think they may release something far worse.
Well, they also are, other components in mind control are sleep, food, and water deprivation. People are working 9 to 5, 5 to 9 to put food on the table that has no nutritional value. It's being genetically altered and bioengineered to deliberately starve our brains. Mind control shuts down neuron pathways, whether it's trauma or starvation, lack of sleep, because we're having
Look at the
to work
Epstein
so
cult
hard.
that was a CIA-connected Epstein operation. It used sleep and food deprivation on all these rich women, and now we have it tied into the Abercrombie and Fitch guys. They were running the male slaves, all tied in with Les Wexner, the controller of Epstein. And so in general, because I want to break some major Epstein news with you that just broke, that we've already foreshadowed but now confirmed, and then take calls or anywhere you want. But just in general, what do you make of Epstein and him working directly with David Rockefeller as his stand-in of the Trilateral Commission? This wasn't known until recently. This is confirmed. How important is David Rockefeller?
I mean, were you asking me about Epstein? Because
Just in general,
that is
who Epstein was, the networks, and people keep asking me and everywhere, who's the next Epstein? Well, the networks, the drag queen storytime, the transgenderism, the sexualization of children all over TV, Nickelodeon, they've gone, as you said in your book 31 years ago, with the CIA guy that helped you write it, we talked about him, an incredible patriot, that Mr. Phillips, that they would be externalized and that they're trying to make us all Epstein. This is speak to that, because you said that in your book, and back then that was completely novel. That's confirmed now.
Well, they're not making us like them because we're not like them. They're a dark, negative energy force that feed off a low vibration like they are. What the ultimate end goal is for them is to dumb us down so far that they can align us with artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is flat, linear thinking like their criminal minds, and they're trying to lower our vibration. Having been deep in the swamp with these perpetrators, Alex, I know that their greatest fear is the strength of the human spirit and the infinite power of love. We've got a great awakening going on. We've got a mental evolution and a spiritual evolution. It's game over. We win as soon as we remember who we are, why we're here, and gather our strength of spirit, unite in love for our children, and raise our vibration out of their reach, because they cannot reach us at a high vibration. And that's our victory. We have the victory.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But it's like Terminator. Skynet's beaten, so they sent a Terminator back, to the past to try to stop us. I agree. And so then to watch Trump say, "Oh, we'll destroy America, it's too horrible," you're not stopping at Trump. And I get, like, overall, he's got Kennedy and they're getting the poison out and stopping the shots, and you think Trump's good, and I overall do. And you're a victim, top, well-known, certified victim and overcomer of this, so I really respect you on that. And so that goes into my calculus here. And I agree, we shouldn't just spend all our time bitching about Trump. How about the Democrats are actually doing it in the files, and how about we get Congress, as MTG said, she's out now. Okay, well, you've got it unredacted, start releasing the damn names. Yeah, bitch about Trump, say release the rest, great. But also, let's see Massey and all the rest of you start releasing it now. By the way, I don't know how they did it, I guess AI. I saw this clip on C-SPAN 25 years ago or longer with David Rockefeller. There were only two people that thought I could be president, my mom and David Rockefeller. And in the whole documentary about it, I remember seeing it, he described how Rockefeller came to his school, picked him out. It turned out his mother was a prostitute, it's been confirmed, and that the governor, Rockefeller's, his brother was it, was actually his dad, so it was a family thing. And this is all, even in the newspapers in Arkansas, if you don't know about it. But the crew, or I haven't asked yet how they found it, I'm guessing AI, they found the clip. They saved the clip. We'll see if it's the exact clip I'm looking for, because I remember it, because at the time, like, I would tape stuff that listeners would mail it to me, and so I think I taped it on C-SPAN, I had it on a VHS, and I lost it. So I probably played this like 50 times right back at the time. I remember Clinton was still in office, he was thanking David Rockefeller. Let's see if they found the clip. Here it is.
Rockefeller is a name that resonates throughout American history. It means not only private success and wealth, but also an abiding sense of public responsibility. David Rockefeller is the standard bearer of this family and this tradition, from making unprecedented commitments to biomedical research, to sending tens of thousands of retired executives, all volunteers, to developing nations in need of advice and skills. In every region of the world, heads of state seek his counsel. But whether he is addressing the King of Spain or a fellow beetle collector he meets by chance, he treats everyone with exactly the same impeccable courtesy and respect, as I learned when I met him a good while before anyone but my mother thought I could become president. David Rockefeller is a gentleman, a statesman, a scholar, and most important, a genuine humanitarian of the likes our nation has rarely seen. Commander, read the citation.
The President of the United States of America awards this Presidential Medal of Freedom to David Rockefeller. Through his extensive humanitarian efforts to promote world peace, David Rockefeller has worked to improve lives, both at home and abroad. Building on his family's tradition of charitable giving, he has generously supported a wide range of educational, cultural, health, and urban renewal programs. As co-founder of the International Executive Service Corps, he has recognized the duty and responsibility of the private sector to a world in need.
Yeah, that's Corporal Will Gummers. Let's stop there. Great job of the crew. It was Thomas Siska found it. I guess he said it before. No, it's like a documentary about Rockefeller comes to school, picks him out, and then puts him on the fast track to the CIA, which they meant went with CIA, and he says, there were only two people thought I could be president then in high school, my mama and David Rockefeller, so thank you, David Rockefeller. But it's okay, you guys found him saying the same thing, just not the exact clip. So see, I don't make stuff up, folks. So Kathy O'Brien, please continue.
Well, Bill Clinton's such a liar anyway. You know, we expect him to lie, so that was no credibility to his opinion of Rockefeller there. I think it's really important for all of us to realize that identifying these criminals, and I've had to deal with this after waiting 35 years for justice against the Clintons, to know that someone like Hillary Clinton is still around, free to do anything she wants to our children is just absolutely atrocious. And a reminder to each and every one of us everywhere that it's up to us to protect our children. It's up to us to make the difference. It's up to us to be the difference that we need to see in the world, because we can't wait any longer for these criminals to be stopped and locked up. And as soon as one of them is locked up, someone else will take over unless we understand the agenda, unless we realize that it's our need to protect our children, that the sexual abuse of children is not a perversion. It is not okay in any way whatsoever. When we research our own mind-brain function and understand what that sexual abuse does to the human brain, it shuts down our brilliant minds. It shuts down our birthright to be brilliant and live the love we are, to be able to think free for ourselves.
Well, that's right. If we're free, they'll almost admit that we'll outthink them and create a beautiful free society. That's why they want a dumbed-down trauma-based system. We're going to go to break, come back. I've got this big Zorro Ranch news. It's massive. Underground bases, you name it. This is so huge. I want to get your take on this. Kathy O'Brien, former MK Ultra satanic ritual abuse survivor, wrote the book Transformation for America 31 years ago, all documented. People go to trans-formation.com. They should all get the book. You're on X at Real Kathy O'Brien. You're insane if you don't read it. By the way, I keep asking, can you, maybe during the break, flip to the book and just, because I remember reading it, I read the book like 5 times, and I had a copy and I can't find it, where you guys you and your co-author get into how they were beta testing it to roll it out on everybody. That's so important. We'll come right back to you in about 2 minutes. And I'm going to open the phones up too next hour to take a few phone calls. You good for that, Kathy?
Yeah.
All right, you're awesome. Trans-information.com. Get the book right now. Okay. I'm funded by you. I'm not funded by the Mercers. I'm not funded by the CIA. I'm not funded by Israel, Qatar, anybody. I'm funded by you, the people of the world that go to thealexjonestore.com and get great supplements, great badass knives, amazing Patriot apparel, really cool stuff on the site. And until tomorrow night, and it ends at midnight, store-wide, 52% off on all the apparel, the ultramethylene blue, the bovine colostrum, the Irish sea moss, all of it. This is the biggest sale of the year. It funds our operation. Some of these are lost leaders. This deal is so good. Take advantage of it now. It was going to end tonight, but I didn't even realize it was 50% off store-wide until yesterday. I'm like, wait, I didn't know it was store-wide. Everything I thought it was a few products. That did the previous deal. This is massive. The widest selection of Patriot apparel, you name it, thealexjonestore.com. And I don't own thealexjonestore.com. So the bad guys are successfully shutting down InfoWars, which they're very close to doing with the Texas State Receiver and all of it. We have the Alex Jones Network backup that Big League, the sponsor, owns. We're building a bigger studio. We are ready to go as long as you support us and as long as when we shut down. You find me, Real Alex Jones, on Rumble at the Alex Jones Show, and the new news sites we're going to launch we haven't announced yet, and all of that we are going to continue on together. I want to thank you all for your support, but these are great products. I only sell you stuff that really works. And methylene blue cleans out your mitochondria, gives you instant energy with no letdown, clarity, focus. You hear Kennedy talk about it. You heard Doc Chambers, medical doctor, been on it since 2004. He got blown up in Iraq and then did his own research. When he had brain damage and brought him back. I mean, that's how powerful methylene blue is, and we've got the strongest we found. There may be better out there, but we haven't found it yet. So if you get anything, we're 52% off right now, ultramethylene blue, medical grade, thealexjonestore.com. And anybody buying anything should be a VIP. You just click VIP, say $30 at checkout, you get $40 instantly, so you save $10. Special deals, special offers, everything gets even a sale on top of that. And you can cancel one click for free. So, but you do get the special deals, special offers being a VIP. So please become a VIP for anybody getting the products at thealexjonestore.com. You are just as responsible as myself or my guests or anybody in this fight when you support what we're doing. But regardless, take the live feed at Real Alex Jones on X right now and share it. It's hour number 2 with the hero, Kathy O'Brien, straight ahead. Now, this is an emergency flash sale. It funds our operation, and these are incredible products. This is the biggest sale of the year right now at thealexjonestore.com. Store-wide, all the supplements, all the apparel, the ball caps, the t-shirts, all of it, the hoodies, the sweaters, the incredible supplements, ultramethylene blue, our proprietary ultramethylene red, the Irish sea moss, the Shilajit, all of it until tomorrow at midnight. We send it in one day, store-wide, 52% off. So I'm saying this live on air on February 17th, Tuesday. Tomorrow, February 18th at midnight Central Time, the sale will end. Store-wide, 52% off. Ends tomorrow night at midnight. This is an alert. Your support keeps us on air, and I thank you so much, and I want to give back to you. For those on the fence, I want you to experience ultramethylene blue, ultramethylene red, the Shilajit, the Irish sea moss, our bovine colostrum. It's a private label, the top brand in the country, 2,000 milligrams per little scoop. So good for your skin, your hair, your eyes, your whole body. It's the first 2 weeks of milk that comes off a cow or any other mammal is incredible. And this is the final week. This only happens every few months, where you don't just, every time you make a purchase, get put in one time in the raffle for whatever cool American-made supercar they're having, off-road, Mustangs, you name it. You get put in 100X into the raffle, which they've never done before, in this week, and you get put in to win both vehicles, both the F-250 diesel and the Ford Mustang Shelby. That is a huge deal, and $20,000 cash. So go to thealexjonestore.com now.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
So I don't want to not be here. I want to give the number out coming up next time. I'm going to break this huge Zorro Ranch news and get Kathy O'Brien's take on it. But Kathy, the most prominent documented MKUltra satanic ritual abuse survivor and overcomer out there. In this segment, where do you want to go? Other angles you think people should know about what's happening right now?
I think it's extremely important for people to know about the vast number of survivors that are emerging and talking about MKUltra mind control. There's so many who are finally feeling vindicated that the information's starting to come out. And there's just a lot that people need to hear from the vast numbers. They're surviving these days. Back when Mark Phillips rescued me out of MKUltra mind control, it was very rare that anybody survived, and I was extremely fortunate to survive because I was to be killed at Bohemian Grove in one of their rituals and be burned alive in order to die in front of these global perpetrators to make them feel like I died with their secrets. Instead, Mark Phillips, brilliant intelligence insider, working the highest levels of intelligence mind sciences to preserve the sanctity of free thought, had reached in and lifted me out of that victimization in order that we could start exposing what was going on. And he saved my life from certain demise at Bohemian Grove. He intercepted me right in between. And I'm so fortunate he did, and that I was able to heal. It's within us all to heal. And mental health has been deliberately taught wrong. It's time that people realize that, and that we have been blessed for the resiliency within us. The methods Mark taught me are in PTSD, time to heal. Everyone, everywhere can apply these easy to self-apply methods to themselves and heal from any level of trauma, abuse, fear, control, even media manipulation, to reclaim our free thought, free will, to be able to expand our thinking beyond what we think we know, because our knowledge base has been deliberately altered and we have been taught wrong. We all need to expand our thinking. PTSD, Time to Heal, shows us how, and I'm forever grateful that Mark Phillips was able to release this information by helping me so that I could share the information from an inside perspective so that others too can heal. This information has reached so many, the survivors are healing, and it's the most important part is that knowing that all these children who have been trafficked, the vast numbers who are being rescued right now, can be helped. They can heal just like I did, because we've got that resiliency of body, mind, and spirit. After 30 years of torturous, robotic, MKUltra mind control, I was able to not only reclaim my free thought, but also to reclaim my joy, my inner peace, my life's purpose, to be able to live the love I am, and continue bringing this message forward, because we all need it these days. What we're seeing isn't new. What's new is that we're finally seeing it, and as we see it, rather than let it overwhelm us, let it empower us by reclaiming our birthright to live the love we are, to remember who we are, why we're here, and take a stand now for the children's sake. It's up to us. We can't wait on this system to clean up. It's up to each and every one of us to do it, and we have within us the capacity for us. We have the victory within us. It's time to shine that and eradicate this darkness once and for all.
All right. I want to come back and give the number out. I want to get into this huge. And it's all huge. This Thor Ranch stuff is huge. And I can confirm what's in here from our separate sources, but it's all, there's a lot of investigators on this now. They're very respected. Underground bases, what the witnesses said, with the
Harrison, I am so excited to talk to you. I want to plug the Irish sea moss was a big game changer for me. I was having a lot of like thermoregulation issues, like morning severe chills and cold in the morning. All that stopped. With the sea moss, there's a thyroid issue, and the sea moss has that iodine to heal your thyroid.
Isn't that amazing?
The methylene blue, the methylene blue, life-changing. I love it. I don't need caffeine anymore. Like, it's amazing, but I'm trying to be quick.
It's all right. Hey, when you're plugging, we got all the time in the world.
I love his supplement formula. I am an acupuncturist. I have a master's degree in Chinese medicine, and he's got some really good formulas put together. And they work really well. I really appreciate it. I stopped taking all of my other stuff that I was taking, and I just take a lot of you guys' stuff. I mean, because I love you and I want to support everything you guys are doing, but the formulas are good.
You can only find out for yourself what effects these things will have. TheAlexJonesStore.com.
Waging war on corruption. It's Alex Jones coming to you live from the front lines of the info war.
Ranch was never searched by the feds, which was 10,000 acres plus, huge facility. Victims said facilities underground. They talk about underground facilities in the emails, underground facilities also at the pedophile island, Little St. John's. But the feds never went in there. There's a big scandal brewing with that now. The folks running for high office in Texas that now own it. Helicopter pads, you name it. There's a whole secret government complex nearby. This is a big deal. But Kenneth O'Brien, before we go there, let's talk about Mark Phillips that saved you and who co-authored the book with you, because Gunderson, who I totally trusted, you know, he was tapped even whenever J. Edgar Hoover died to try to be the, Nixon wanted him as the FBI director because he was a good guy, but they blocked him. He was the head of the LA operation. He'd run major operation FBI called Telpro, so it's an insider. And he said your stuff was dead on. I'm reading your book now, but the last time I did it all came true. So yeah, there's Mark Phillips. He died in 2017. Tell us about Mark Phillips, what an interesting and amazing person he was and how he was able to save you.
Mark Phillips was working the highest levels of intelligence, mind sciences to preserve the sanctity of free thought. He's an absolute hero to us all in his lack of tolerance for the criminal activities
and
he saw.
CIA, that's been confirmed. So you're saying there are good guys in there too?
Well, he was a spook. He was CIA, FBI, NSA.
Exactly. Real spooks aren't in it all, for people that don't know.
Yeah, he was CIA, NSA, Secret Service, anything he needed to be at any time. And
did he tell you how he got recruited and how he woke up and how he did what he did? Because you read the book, I mean, it all came true. It's just pure genius. All right, we just lost our feed. Yeah, I mean, I had dinner with these guys, knew them well, interviewed them many times, and all the big insiders, they said, no, this is real, this is dead on. And I mean, you read the book now, I don't think we're getting money for selling the book. She didn't ask me to sell it. I'm just like, I gotta read it again because it's just like, my God, this is all came true. And I don't know if during the break shift she pulled the book out to read those passages. There's like whole chapters on how it's transformation of America. It's a transformation of everything. Sorry, we lost your connection. Did Mark ever get into how he got recruited or why he broke away or what happened?
He was a spook, so he wore every hat. He was extremely high up in intelligence and was in and out of the White House. And when he saw children being trafficked, he decided to do something about it. And that's when he lifted my daughter and me right out of the Washington, D.C. human trafficking swamp.
By the way, that's what Larry Nichols, highly decorated Green Beret Vietnam, high-level security in Iran-Contra and in MENA, he finally had a come-to-Jesus moment and literally fell down on his knees when he found out that they were hurting children. He's dead now, but he was on record, the Clintons' main fixer, really their handler. And so it shows there's good people in the system. We're not defending the system.
Absolutely.
But Larry Nichols said the same stuff. He said, I can't get into it, Alex, but when I learned they were trafficking kids, and look, my uncle was in Iran-Contra, highly decorated helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and then he got recruited, and he was just building airfields and running airfield operations and communications. But he was the guy. He was world champion at one point in Morse code, and even back then they did Morse code back at the White House. He was reporting to Bill Barr. We now know who was the head of the operation, at least the liaison for Bush. He was hiding from Reagan. But just side issue. He told me a little bit about it. Told my mom some of it. But when he was dying of pneumonia before they put him on a ventilator, now 12 years ago, William Forrest Hammond was his name. He said, listen, I did things in Vietnam. He told me the stuff, and he said I did the things for the just us means. But he said there came a time when it was so bad that I had to leave and I had to get out of it, and a bunch of stuff happened. But the point was, I said, what was it? He said they were running orphanages of little kids in Central and South America and flying kids out. He goes, we don't know where, but it was bad. And then a bunch of guys in Army Special Operations assigned to the CIA went public. They killed the guy under him, shot them both up. He got shot up. I remember picking him up at the Air Force Base in Dallas. I'm a little kid, like in a stretcher where he was shot up. But the point is that this is the point of that there's a soul out there, and there's good people that we stand on their shoulders. Well, sorry, get back to Mark Phillips. I apologize.
Absolutely. Oh, there's good people everywhere, and I certainly was the last to believe it. When Mark rescued my daughter and me, I didn't know good people even existed in the world anymore. It was I didn't even know how to trust that there could be anything good. But my brain knew I was safe, and neuron pathways started opening up, and I began remembering it as quickly as I began remembering the things I'd been tortured to forget. Mark told me to write them out. He said the pen is mightier than the sword. The pen activates that when you move a pen, it activates the logic, critical analysis part of the brain. It's where we process information.
Explain. That's what studies, but it did not come out, but he was right then. It bypasses the emotions. It goes right to the actual memory.
It does. It shifts the emotionally incomprehensible that's been repressed, opens neuron pathways to move it over to conscious, where it's written out on paper, consciously seen, and all of a sudden healing happens psychiatrically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. It's such an important aspect of our brain function that we have taken writing by hand out of the school system in order to indoctrinate the children. If we get writing by hand back in the school system, that alone will stop the indoctrination. But as I wrote out this memory, he was handing it to his friends in intelligence and in law enforcement. He was handing it over to people in the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, and above all, we had William Von Raab back in the day. I don't know if you remember Von Raab. He was head of U.S. Customs. Yeah, he was in the same position that Tom Holman is now. And the media went after him with everything they had because he was exposing the drug and human trafficking across open borders. He was exposing the Clintons. He was exposing all of the horrors that were going on. I mean, what an amazing person he was. But there were so many good people that genuinely cared all the way back then. And Mark Phillips was one of them, and he is the one that led my daughter and me to freedom.
Well, we saw the Democrats ship in 500,000 kids, even though there were times when it many sex slavery, slave labor. They've now saved half of them. Such a good thing for Trump and Tom Homan. The Democrats fought to stop that coming out, so we know who the real pedos are. It's so sad the DOJ is trying to cover up, but we have to call it like it is. But I don't need to read it in the book. I don't even need to believe you. My uncle, incredible guy, Mr. America, Boy Scout, told me this stuff. And I knew what he did. I knew he was involved in it. I didn't know the details. And he said, no, it's all true. And I remember him actually talking about you, because he would listen to the show, and he said, no, all that stuff, it's all real. And he wasn't like